Come on. All right. I think we're live, Matt. I think we're live. Hold on a second here. I'm starting to see people floating in here. All right. Shout out to all the people out there. If you're hearing us loud and clear, please let us know if there's any audio issues, if I'm too loud, too quiet, any of that stuff going on. While we're waiting for confirmation of that, of course, please go to hankstrange.com. That's the best way for you to figure out all the different ways that you could support us, including if you're looking for shirts like this, we have a link that goes directly to Ballistic Inc.
That's
Or
right.
or you could go to Ballistic Inc. and look me up. You can get the Lot Lao shirts. I'm probably gonna make a new Lot Lao shirt here at some point.
That's a pretty strong design, man. I like the
Yeah.
Magnum PI. I like that whole motif. I liked it so much that
Hmm.
we actually took the original Hawaiian Aloha Magnum PI design and made a Hawaiian shirt out of it.
I
The
know,
original.
I know. Let me see.
So
I could roll that in right
yeah,
now.
so it's
Let's
pretty
see
solid, man.
if I could roll that in. Where is that design? It's one of the yeah. I'll find that and pop that up for you. It's one of the designs up here. Let me see. Here it goes. I'll share it with the folks real quick. Boom. There you go.
Very, very 80s nostalgia,
Yeah,
you
the
know.
original Boog Boy Magnum PI.
Oh
Oh,
man, the
so
original operator with the little bird, man. He's the one that made little birds hot.
exactly. So listen, let's jump into the show here. Let me kick this off. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the thumbs up, share this if you can. We appreciate all that. I'm gonna hit the open right now.
Welcome back to the Hank Strange
Boom.
situation.
All right, guys. As I
Lifestyles
said,
of locked
smash
and
that
loaded.
subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, ring the bell so you can be notified every time we go live. We are live, and my guest is Matt of Ballistic Inc. Unless he stole this hat from somewhere.
Nope.
What's
Nope.
up, Matt?
What's going on, man? Thanks for
What's up?
having me on.
You know we got to do the jazz hands. Let's get the jazz hands going. There you go. Jazz hands going. We are live. I hope you guys have your big girl panties on. That was like an upside down rain just now, man.
Yep.
He was good. He's good. I don't
Yep.
know
You got
what,
a
but
elevator.
yeah. This is episode 722 of the Who Moved My Freedom podcast. As I said, my guest is Matt of Ballistic Inc. And he's going to be joining us here for the whole 2 hours. And somewhere around 8 o'clock, we should be getting Sean Curtis of Ludus Integritas joining us. He's a writer, and he's coming on to talk about the new Walther. Walther released a new pistol line a few days ago, so he's going to come on and talk about that, as well as I should have a video going, getting posted up here at some point, where I actually spoke to Cody from Walther, and we got all the questions that you guys could possibly ask about that. So we'll get to that in the second half. Right now, shout out to everyone coming in. Smash those thumbs ups, as I said. Shout out to Randy Peacock, who smashed the thumbs ups. Jade Grew, also out there. Appalachian Gun Runner. If anyone needs a shout out, let us know. And I know there's more folks than that smash the thumbs up. So we appreciate you hanging out with us. I'm still in the van. That's what Matt and I were talking about behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'm so used to seeing you in your regular studio, and when I came on, I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
And
very
standing.
comfortable. Yeah, very
And
comfortable.
standing. Yeah. Now I'm sitting down and all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to get this set up, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I
It's
think it's
not
going to
easy.
be a great addition to your podcasting repertoire. It's going to
Yeah.
give you a really neat, ability to go out and just have a lot more fun. You can actually podcast from the range,
Oh,
you can
yes.
do all kinds of cool stuff.
Yes, that's one of the things I want to do. I want to come around and visit. Maybe, yeah, maybe I'll come visit Ballistic Inc. I don't know.
Fun. Come on
Yeah,
up, man.
yeah.
Actually, I would probably meet you halfway. We'd meet you at the farm down at Eric's
Oh,
place
cool. Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's
We
it's
could
a
do
little
that.
bit closer because we're about an hour north of Eric and the guys.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
when I go down there, it takes about 45 minutes to an hour based on traffic.
yeah. How often do you go down to Eric's place? Because I know you and Eric do the podcast, and I was on the podcast, by the way, which was a
Yeah,
lot of fun.
and which did very well. It was probably one of our higher performing episodes.
Really, get
So
out of
yeah,
here.
yeah, man, that was awesome. Yeah,
I'm
with
so
guests,
shocked.
but let me put that in perspective. It was one of
Uh-huh.
our highest performing episodes with
Hmm.
guests.
Oh, okay.
We
Oh, cool.
we're not a guest based podcast,
Hmm.
so it's usually just him and I, and we're just kind of kicking around ideas
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
banter. We'll have like a subject, but it's not like something that's written in stone, and then we'll work in like a guest or two every couple of episodes, every 3 or 4
Hmm.
episodes. So um, Yeah, your episode did very well in
Yeah.
comparison to the other guest episodes,
Oh,
so
cool,
it was
cool.
awesome.
That was totally accidental. It wasn't me. I know. I did
It
try
worked
to
out.
share it and stuff like that. I don't know
No,
if
I
people
mean,
do that or if you guys talk to people, but I think it's bad etiquette to go on someone's show or whatever and then not share or do any.
right, that's right.
Yeah, like if you do a video with someone, like I did several videos with Eric, every time those went up, I was like, what? Shared it out. But you should do that. I know not everyone does it, so.
Yeah, it's really difficult when it's live.
Hmm.
But after this episode, say it
Hmm.
wraps, then I'll
Hmm.
say, hey, go check it out.
Yeah.
Um, it's just one of
Yeah.
those
At
things.
some point, like I don't, I'm not trying to say anything to you. I think overall in this thing that we do, when we do stuff with each other, we should share it. So for example, Iraq Veteran is one of the biggest gun tubers out there, right? And I find he's very generous. He doesn't just do stuff with me. I see Kevin Dixie out there, the real NOC. He's done stuff with him. When I
That's
was
right.
there, Kevin and myself and Eric did some videos which I haven't had a chance to edit and I'm gonna put up. But Eric is always inviting people in and doing stuff, and I just think that it's the way that you're supposed to do it is you're supposed to share that stuff when you do things with other people. Don't It would be bad for me to just go in do stuff with Eric like, oh, he's a big baller. Now I'm gonna get everyone's gonna see me over there. No, there's some people as big as Iraq Veteran is. There's some people who might not have heard of it, or some folks on my side who might not really look at it, and so it's the best thing in the world to do for everyone to share that when you're doing stuff with people instead of being like a one-way street and or a vampire, like that's how I
Yeah.
put it, that you're just getting off of someone's fame, but you don't want to reciprocate that. So
Well, you've been in the industry and you're on the industry. There's companies and there's people out there that are like that, and
mhm,
the 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 bad thing is that you only have to do it a few times until you get a reputation of being that type of person. Then nobody
mhm,
really wants to help you out or work with you
mhm,
because it is a one-way street. So, I
mhm,
see it all the time. Companies,
yeah,
and that's the weird thing is because I'm not a content creator, but I work with all the content creators. So
mhm.
I kind of hear about it from
You
you
hear the
guys.
complaints?
Yeah, I hear about it because I'm like that
Yeah.
guy. Um, but I mean, the companies, it's really hard because you'll become friends with the company, but
Mhm.
it's really difficult to get past that friend. Like, hey, I do have to charge you for this. Like, it's one of those things.
Right.
Like, hey, I really like your product.
Mhm.
Thanks for like hooking me up with the product, but we do have to talk monetary compensation because it's just
Right.
part. The lights have to come on,
Yes.
and it's
So
just a hard thing to do.
yeah, I think so. There's a couple of things in there. One, I think, so when I deal with companies, it's not, I think everyone has a different way to do it. But I think that on behalf of a lot of companies out there, like how we're talking about etiquette, they
Hmm.
don't realize that, maybe if you're just a casual person doing these videos and you don't do it often, that's one thing. But if you're doing this on a regular basis, it's very expensive to do.
It
And
is.
yes, and so when you're putting up things, and especially with what's going on now on YouTube, that any gun content, including what we're doing right now, or anything that I do that's gun related that goes on Hank Strange, YouTube is suppressing that. And my proof to you is that I started a separate channel to do car stuff, and it got monetized, and it's already doing better than this channel that has been around for a long
Yep.
time and is bigger than it, and I have more content on in terms of the advertising. So a lot of the companies just assume, oh, you're getting a ton of advertising money. No, no,
Right.
you're not
And
getting that. So it would be nice to help you out, and everyone has a different way to do that. I don't try to, from my point of view, I don't go out there telling people that they have to do it. And I try to help out everyone that I can, but I just think that it's something that the companies, it's the same thing that I'm saying with, like, if you go do something with someone, it's just good form to share that and help big that person up and introduce everyone to things. And I think it's the same thing with the gun companies, and they're just assuming, oh, this thing, that maybe this accessory that I make that's $50 or $100, you should be happy that that I'm giving you that, or even a firearm. But in a lot of cases, even if what I say about that gun is in some ways bad, it's still advertising you and still getting you out there to people. And before people buy something, they look at a ton of videos and make their choice. So I've said things about companies that the companies have gotten really mad at me and actually stopped talking to me. But then when I see the folks out there, they're happy that I told them the reality of those things, and they still buy the stuff. I'm sure that
Yeah.
happens. That happens with Eric as well. So the industry should realize that they need us and we need them, and we should figure out ways to work together instead of just thinking, oh yeah, we can get these people to do things for nothing. And it's happened to me recently. It happens over and over again. Lots of people, I do things with their products and things like that, and they actually just really don't care. And the reason why I think it's something worth talking about is because in this space, the idea of us being influencers almost becomes like whore.
I
I say
mean,
that all the time.
yeah, and that's how a lot of people look at it. They
Hmm.
associate um, showing off a product or
Hmm.
showcasing a product as,
Hmm.
quote, shilling. So,
Yeah.
as in my opinion, as long as you're getting compensated and the compensation doesn't determine the outcome of your opinion, is perfectly fine.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's just the way it is. I mean, said
Hmm. Yeah.
when
Sorry, I'm dialing in Kevin Dixie because I saw him
oh
in the chat. I think he wants to come on and chat with us.
oh yeah,
So
for sure.
let's see if we get that working. Yes, you're saying. Yeah.
Um, so I mean, as long as that payment isn't determining the outcome of your opinion, it's a very expensive job. So it's I would equate it to being a 100% commission only salesperson
Hmm.
because you're putting money out of your own pocket to do this job in hopes that you're going to get some type of payback or a return on your investment. So editing videos, taking time to go and shoot product, shoot
Hmm.
videos, it's a ton of work. And to
Hmm.
get one 25-minute video that, everybody enjoys probably took like 50 or 60 hours
Hmm.
of time and effort to make.
And money.
Um, and money and
Yeah.
ammo and begging people. Okay, let's be real. Right
Yeah.
now, gun companies and ammo companies
Hmm.
do not need anybody's help to increase sales.
Hmm.
And I was talking with Eric about this. I said,
Hmm.
man, it is going to be extremely rough in the next couple of months to a year
Hmm.
because the gun companies is a buyer's market. They can choose who they want to work with versus previously it was kind of like, oh, we need these guys to help spread the gospel or a new product. They could literally, I've seen new guns come out that are absolutely horrendous. So like you can't even find them, and they're not even on the shelves anymore. They're on
Hmm.
Gunbroker for a markup,
Hmm.
1.5 time markup on Gunbroker.
Hmm.
So it's it's just going to be a very interesting year for a lot of content creators moving forward because the best you're going to get is a T&E model or something to get out there to do a video if you're lucky.
Yeah. So, this is a touchy subject that we just jumped all the way into. By the way, if Kevin Dixie's out there, if you want to come on, just dial in and I'll get you on here. I tried calling you. Um, it is a touchy subject, and it's a touchy subject for a lot of different reasons. So, first of all, I think a lot of the folks out there who consume the content that I create and other people create, not all of them, but there's a lot of people who feel like we should somehow be monks. And what I mean by monks, they feel like we should we should not get paid or make any kind of money for making content that entertains and educates and informs them about stuff. And hey, they may be right about that, but if you don't, every man has to figure out how to pay his bills and how to take care of his family and do things. So if someone, anyone, a man, a woman, anyone's out there creating content and entertaining you and educating you and informing you, and advocating for your side, you want to take care of that person. You know, I think it's really important. You want to make sure they're taken care of. And the idea that and it's a weird kind of idea because I mean, you see like the guns, just the guns alone and the cost of the guns alone here is it amounts to fortunes.
Yeah,
You know,
no
guns are
doubt.
not as cheap as people think, you know. We're not all shooting like, you know, $100 guns out here. You know, the
We're all
guns,
using Gucci Glocks, man. You
yeah,
gotta
all
have
the
the good stuff.
yes, to do all of this stuff, to do ammo. I mean, when Eric does like a burn down video, what kind of ammo is going on
Oh
there?
God, yeah, the
Yeah.
meltdowns are insane.
Look at right now when we're doing videos right now with ammo, it's crazy. Let me see. Is it? Oh, here he goes. He's calling in here. Let me get him. Sorry. Let's
Yep,
get
go
him.
for it,
Let's
man.
get Kevin Dixie in here.
I
Um,
like
There we
Kevin.
go. Oh,
yeah. Here
somebody
we go.
likes me. Hey,
Hey,
what's
what's
up?
up, man?
What's up, dude? Hey, am I right? Is the thing right or
Yes,
am I
yeah,
wrong?
yeah. No, you're coming in. You must
Okay.
be cold.
Yeah, you're
You're
right.
only in Georgia, man. Why you got your
Hey,
hoodie
well,
on?
first of all, I got a compliment. All right, let me address the
Oh,
handsome man that
oh.
gave me a compliment.
Let's
What's up, brother? How you been doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
go right to the
Ah, man, can't
compliments.
complain. Good to see you again.
Oh yeah.
Now, to this code statement, and I love the topic you guys are on, but to this code statement, I'm sitting in my garage, all right, because I'm from the Midwest. I'm used to the code. It's not a big deal, right? I'm used to this -2. I'll be back home tomorrow. It's freezing up there. That's cool. That's okay. But move to the south, they say. It'll be warm, they say. It's like 23 degrees outside. So this is hoodie weather.
Yep.
I don't have on a heavy coat. I just have on a hoodie. But this
It
is
is not
ridiculous. I'm right.
23 degrees in Georgia.
Yeah, it's pretty
What?
cold.
Is it really? Is it that bad?
Dude.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
hold
pretty
on.
Man, look,
cold.
Let me check the
I'm writing
weather.
a Geneva. I'm writing a Geneva Convention about this. This is ridiculous. Shit,
Hey,
Global warming, bro. Global
yeah,
warming.
yeah, it's
You
real
think
warm.
this lamp is not for light? This isn't my iguana heat lamp.
Yeah.
It's like radiating heat on me.
It's 59 degrees here, by the way. Just in case you wanna.
T-shirt and shorts weather.
Here. It's
Yeah.
59 degrees where I'm at. So
Okay, you can stop.
yeah, it's not. It's not 23 degrees. Yeah, listen. I think this is a good conversation. So feel free. I know you've been watching this, in Kevin Dixie. And for the folks out there, if you have any comments or anything or questions about what we're talking about, feel free to jump in here. Please smash those thumbs ups. Where were we before
You were
we got
talking about
distracted by the Eskimo coming in here? The black
it was
Eskimo. The
I was talking
melanated,
about
the
like ammo
melanated
pricing
Eskimo.
and oh boy.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Always with the racist stuff, man. Always with the racist.
My mouth. That's all.
Agree with you on that. The ammo
hmm
you froze up on me. Uh-oh.
Yeah. We're
good?
here. We're here. Hopefully
All right.
everything's good.
All right.
Yeah.
Like even with like Tim, he does some great videos over at Military Arms.
Mhm.
He's even like limited on ammo, so he'll just kind of show off a rifle, and you're used to going through like 3 or 4 mags, and he's like, 5. This is what I get today.
Mhm.
5 rounds.
Mhm.
Like what you see is what you get. So it's a
It's
tough
getting
world out
bad
there
for
right
ammo
now.
out there. I'm sponsored by Fort Scott Munitions, and they send me
Nice.
ammo and stuff like that. They don't send me unlimited ammo, and they haven't really. If I really need something, they'll send it. But in for months and months now, if not like half of the year or something like that, I don't really keep track of it. But because I understand that we've been for a while in a massive ammo shortage. So they're getting ammo out to other folks and stuff like that. So I've been going off of what we have, what we have here, and it's dwindling
Gotta use
down.
it sparingly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's dwindling
Yeah,
down, and we don't know when ammo's gonna come back into regular supply.
I
you
honestly
better.
don't think it will.
Yeah, go ahead, Kev.
It'll take a while. I think it'll stabilize. The pricing won't. The pricing is definitely not going to settle where it was 2019, 2018 prices. We won't see that again. But
Mm.
I'm sponsored by Yoki. A
Mhm.
great company who's helped us do a lot, and
Mhm.
I was blessed. It was funny. I was blessed to actually get my sponsorship shipment to go out and start doing my community work the day after COVID was announced as like this big thing, right? They sent the
Mhm.
first lot. And then when ammo started dwindling down, they actually made it a priority to send me the rest before I could go out and still work with people. And then what happened? Now you can't get in groups with people, right? So it
Mhm.
became it became a gift and a curse all at the same time. So I'm with Tim and I'm with everybody else. I'm like, I got a bunch of videos we're about to start cutting, and I'm like, yeah, dude. Think about maybe 3 to 4 rounds.
That's right.
Yeah, that's about it. Because once you shoot it up, like if you take advantage of having whatever your stash ammo is, wherever you got it from, if you got a bunch of mixture or whatever, if you just go out and still do mag dumps, I mean, training I'm okay with. Maybe every blue moon just going to have a good time. But if you just start doing mag dumps for video sakes, and Lord forbid the stuff you edit out of that you don't even use, right? Now all of a sudden you look up in 3 months, you're down to 30% of what you had left. Nobody wants to be in that position. So nope, you got to conserve it.
No, and the other part of that is, and at least how I'm looking at it, for a while, it's been like YouTube's been suppressing gun videos. And the way that I've been surviving, so my main channel, I've been surviving by putting snippets up on that channel. So the main channel, I think I have 112,000 people subscribed to me. But if I put up a gun video, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter how much ammo I shot or what I did. I'm lucky if that video gets 2,000 views. Seriously.
Yeah, but the shadow ban is real.
Yeah, it's real. And so I've been putting up a lot of snippets, and that's helped to keep the numbers going, because we still get, I mean, like it's not the biggest channel out there, but doing maybe, I don't know, every month at least 300,000 views, something like that, overall on the channel. There's a lot of content, but people now are more interested in things where we're talking about stuff or things happening politically. Right? So, for example, Kevin, you were part of a video snippet that went up about folks saying that they're getting into guns because they're worried about the Trumpers out there. And that video has done better than any video that I've put up in the last month that is just me shooting guns. So if that's...
Yeah, do you see my face?
Oh, I should have used a different example.
Come on, man.
Of course, yeah. It's of course. It's it's all Brigitte. It's all Brigitte. Yeah. That's why that video is getting views.
She is a pretty woman. She is a pretty woman.
Absolutely, she was looking great. But the thing is that so what's the point then, right? Like if you're gonna burn $1,000 in a video just on ammo, and put that video up, and then YouTube suppresses it, and there's no advertising on it and all that kind of stuff. I hate to whine about it, but you just wasted money.
It's true.
It's another way to look at that too. I think there's a duality there, right? And one end, when it comes to how people are receiving the information, you have the companies, company ABC or whatever, right? And they're like, oh, well, we want to work with somebody who's going to get, 500,000 views on a video, right? We're gonna invest in them, pay them, or whatever. We want a return on investment of 500,000. Now, in that are all the different variables, right? And I tell people, and they get a little sensitive when I say this, but it's just a fact in every genre you look at. You can have a ton of eyes and have no influence. People just like watching you, right? And that's the thing. And then there are people that have more of a loyalty or respect for the individual that might get 500 views, but their conversion rate for even 500 views is going to be a lot higher because people actually they're attached to that individual for whatever reason. So companies, I think, missed the mark with that a lot, and they gotta kind of get over that. And even before, man, you go back to 2016, maybe 15, before the ban started hitting on the shadow banning. I mean, you look at guys like Eric Mack and Hickok and all that. I mean, crap, it'd be nothing for them to get 4 or 5 million views over a couple of weeks, right? And now that's kind of like,
their numbers are not,
right?
Yeah, compared to the fact that they still have very loyal followings and they're in the millions of followers. And people, someone said to me, actually, several people said, dude, I thought you weren't even doing videos. We don't ever get notifications of the videos going up. I'm like, there's a video going up every day. You
have to be creative with the way that you market it too. I will put out YouTube videos now that I have a website. I wanted to make sure my website was able to actually back them up and host them, right? But even with that, you have to look at what your marketing is, how you align with people, what your message is, and how you can introduce whatever you're trying to represent via the Second Amendment, whatever product thing, how you can represent that via your message. right? Because I've done videos where companies have called me and said, "Oh, that worked out great. We've had a ton of sales." Where I literally was just going on like my talking thing about 2A rice and just had the gun sitting right there, like the Coke can in a movie, right?
Yeah.
And it's because I believe in the company. They support what I'm saying, so I don't mind sitting their stuff right there while I'm saying it. And people will look at it that way and go after it, right? And that's an old marketing strategy and technique. And it's not that you're trying to dupe people out or anything like that, but if I'm going to show anything on camera, I either really, really like it and really, really like it and believe in the company that's making it, right? It's always a reason why it's there. So I think that's another thing. The creators have to become creative in the way that they're getting the message out there. If YouTube won't let you do it, I mean, hell, even Instagram now with the shadow banning is redonkulous. They are, man, because people for a while were just going to Instagram because you could still, like when Reel first hit, man, you could put up a video and get, 70, 80,000 hits on a Reel video in 3-4 days. And now you can't do that, right?
No.
It's just really hard.
No.
Well, it was really bad right around the election. Before the election, you could, people joke about it, but you could tell because, you look at someone like Eric's IG or Tim or even Hank, when you guys do a post, you would, like, the engagement is like minuscule. You're talking like guys that have like 200,000 followers have like 100 likes on something. Like, really? 100? It's not even 1% of like what it is. And it's and then right after
crazy.
that it spikes back up. It's so blatantly obvious and in your face, but it's just crazy. You can't do anything about it.
We never created our own ecosystem, and for the biggest reason, I think is a good reason, right? We all wanted to be swimming in the same pool, right, or the same ocean with everyone else, and we all believed, we all have the same rights, and what we're doing is protected by the Constitution versus what a lot of people are doing. Makeup is not protected by the Constitution. There's a whole bunch of things that are not. So we all believe that, and so we're all in that same ocean of social media. And the problem is that even though we've seen these kinds of things that are happening to us now, where our voice is being suppressed, pushed down, totally shut up or shut off, however you want to look at it, I think that we were warned. We had warnings. We saw this coming. We saw other people getting deplatformed and all these kinds of things happen. And then we just never did anything about it, man. So now we're in this position where, this thing that we still believe in and we still fight for, we're marginalized. And at the same time, the perfect storm is happening, as you said earlier, Matt, that the firearms industry out there doesn't have to do anything to sell anything that they're making.
They literally sell themselves. Like they don't need anybody.
Yeah.
They don't even. You could literally make a vending machine and put it in a gun store, and you wouldn't have to have salespeople. They wouldn't even ask questions. People would walk in and be like, "Bye."
Yeah. So they don't care about finding solutions to this. If this would have happened to the makeup industry, right? Let's say makeup all of a sudden everyone was like, makeup is terrible. We don't want this makeup out there. What would happen is you would see those people go, okay, there's lots of people who like makeup. We're going to invest in being able to get our message and put our message out there. And try to, I would hope so. I think that they're smarter when it comes to that than we are. Or they would just go buy someone, right? Like some company that's going out of business or some, whatever. They would do what it takes to get it out there. But on our side, I think it's like, nah, why do we have to do that, man? Everything's selling. Let's just stack that money.
Well, they're also looking at different avenues to get additional revenue so that...
Censor yourself a little bit more, Kevin. We're only seeing half your face. Bam, there you go.
That's all you need to see all this sexiness. All right.
So there was a company
now you're dangerous.
They just bought Gunbroker. I forgot.
I heard about that. What is that all about?
It's an ammunition company, I believe. So instead of trying to go old school and distribute physical ammunition and start a new revenue stream, they're just buying Gunbroker to direct fulfill ammo, which kind of takes away from that being a bid site, because it's really supposed to be me putting up ammo that I have to sell to you, and now it's turning into a company that owns the website selling ammunition to people that come to it.
Yeah, it's called Ammo Inc. Here, let me throw that up on the screen for the folks. Ammo Inc. executes letter of intent to acquire gunbroker. Ammo Inc., a premier American ammunition and munition components manufacturer and technology leader, is pleased to announce it's entered into a non-binding letter of intent dated February 9th, 2021, with, what is it, Tech LLC for its gunbroker.com business. Okay, interesting. Interesting.
Yep.
So that happened. That went down.
Well, that is the ultimate goal of every e-com website, believe it or not, is to
Yeah.
get acquired. So if that was their goal, then they were successful.
And I think Ammo Inc. is traded. Are they traded publicly? They might be.
Well, good for
Yeah.
those guys if that was their goal. Then
Yeah.
good job for
Gunbroker
them.
had a revenue of approximately 60 million according to this.
It's
Yeah.
pretty substantial. It's
Yeah,
a
and the
pretty
purchase-
substantial
The
revenue
purchase
right there.
price is 240 million.
Yeah,
Yeah, it makes sense.
2x. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you know, we need to do things like this. If I was a lot of these companies out there, I would be trying to figure out how to get platforms and how to arrange servers that are outside of like Amazon and Google servers, right? Any of those big dogs. And it's 100% doable. Servers are expensive, so those guys have invested a ton of money into having servers. One, I don't think that the firearms industry needs as much server space to make it run, but there's solutions out there that I think could easily scale up in terms of server space. You can use blockchain and a lot of things that are out there to run that, but there's no will. There's no will from anyone in the
Well,
industry to do it.
it's not just that. It's, you have the servers for content. There's always, I mean, you could go old school and host your own content on your own server individually if you
Mhm.
really wanted to. So like if, you probably know this, Hank, you could have your own server
Yeah.
in your house hosting
Mhm.
your own stuff, and then you don't have to worry about bandwidth.
Mhm.
It is quite expensive, which is kind of the drawback to it, but it is possible. So if you are a full-time content creator and you have someone, say, sponsoring it, then yes, you'd probably be able to do that. But you also have that, but you also have other aspects of it. Like, I know when the whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing was going on, was it MasterCard and Visa were stopping donations to the fund
Yes.
to help him.
Mhm.
That is a serious issue. Not just because of him, but the fact that they can choose where you spend your money. I mean, when you sign that member agreement, that card agreement, I'm pretty sure it didn't have anywhere in there that, you have control over where I spend my money. So it just sets a precedence there that it's more than just content. It's really going to creep into all aspects of your life. It's going to say, hey, you
It's
can't
unconstitutional. Well, listen, there's a lot of things wrong with them saying that you can't do something that's legal, right?
Right.
And you can't use your money to do something with it that's legal over their systems, right? This is a massive problem. Not Gunbroker, PayPal banned me years ago. It's at this point, I think it's at least 3 years ago. They banned me for life. So you know, and the reason why they did that, I don't know. They
Well,
never told me. They just
we know.
Yes, we know why they did
We
it
know.
because I'm a gun guy, and I
Yeah.
know specifically what it was that made them do it. It was related to, to a holster. There's a holster company that sponsors this podcast, and that company sent us the sponsorship money through PayPal. They make holsters. They don't even make guns,
Right.
and because they sent that through PayPal, they banned me for life. And I know it's that because Lola signed up for PayPal and they approved her and everything. And when the company tried to do it again through PayPal, they banned her for life. So
Yeah,
it's as simple
they
as
banned
that.
us
I mean,
as well. Yeah,
yeah,
they
Whoa.
banned us, and we can't take
a lot of
payments.
people have been banned. A lot of people have been
The
banned. It's just
Bandit
not a
brothers.
Yeah.
Got them banded too. They got me
Nice.
about a
You
few
got-
months ago. That's when I found out
a
that
few
PayPal
months?
and Venmo. Yeah,
Yeah,
they got me a few months ago. As
Yeah,
soon as I
they
linked,
got us on Venmo too.
yeah.
yeah, Venmo. So they definitely have to have like the same investors or something because PayPal banned me.
How does
For
that
like
suck?
those
3 gun
who-
guys on here and we're all banned.
Bam, they got me. I linked it to my website, but excluded it from. I excluded PayPal from magazines. So you can't order magazines from my website via PayPal. Before we even launched it, I'm like, please, for the love of God, make sure they can't buy mags via PayPal because I don't even want to deal with the headache. PayPal was like, yeah, whatever, banned for life. And then like 20 minutes later, here comes Venmo. I've used Venmo one time, once. And here comes Venmo like, yeah, we banned you for life. I'm like, who are you? And why? They banned me for life too, 20 minutes later. Yeah, it sucks, man. We have to be creative with just how we do business. But I think that this fantasy of all the gun people coming together and building a platform, I don't think that's ever
not going to happen.
Ever going to happen. No, I think it'll be better off just somebody that just believes in free speech.
Yeah.
That clearly has the investment money or the investment partners to just build it'd be nice to see a platform. And people say, well, there will never be another platform. Dude, we didn't think there would be a YouTube at one point in time either. Right? We didn't know there was going to be an Instagram till there was one. We didn't know there was going to be a Twitter till there was one. And where the hell did Facebook come from? I was still on MySpace trying to figure that damn thing out. And here comes Facebook, right? So there can always be something else. I don't think it needs to be gun specific. I just think we need a platform where you can say and do what you want to say and do. I just think that we just need that platform. But gun guys still are arguing over Glock and CZ. Like they're never going to be able to pull it together to be able to come together for that common cause. I don't believe so. I would love to see it. I would love to be wrong.
I almost think that it's good that it's not gun specific because you don't want that. I mean, you really do want exactly what you said, Kevin. You want something that's more pro freedom and free speech so everybody can use it, because that's the only way to bring more people into the community. You can't have an echo chamber and just have gun guys, because are all the gun guys going to just sit there and talk about how Glock is better than SIG, is better than HK? I mean, that circle jerk can only go on so long. So you need outside people that aren't gun people to kind of get into the community. And really, if we could just find somebody that can believe in that product and roll it out, I think it would really be a contender to YouTube.
We need a freedom ecosystem for sure. It's not the best thing in the world that it's just in one place, because there's lots of aspects of freedom. Look, if they cut off the gun guys, like let's say Operation Choke Point or something like that, which will be coming back if it's not already back out there. If they cut off all the gun guys and we just shrivel up and disappear, they'll just pick someone else to go after that. And
but at the same time, we're not the only industry that gets attacked like that, right? We feel it and we talk about it and we have that in common. But when I was talking to some other people that do other things, apparently they went after some car people the same way. They went after self-defense, like empty hand stuff. They went after that. They went after channels that speak about different things, just various genres all over the place. They're experiencing very similar effect, right? So we get hit hard because we are immediately attacked whenever it's politically savvy to attack us, and then it's really, really, really heavy. A lot of other industries aren't politically attached like that, but there are political channels or financial channels, I mean, rather. And I remember reading an article on that would speak about how to invest your money and why you shouldn't trust the government with your money, and banks are all tied to the government. And there were a lot of channels doing that, like 8 of them got banned. Like, so it's not just us, which is why we just need a pro freedom platform. Let's be honest about something, man. I don't go, like if I go on YouTube, I might go to look at a video. I know you guys were saying earlier about, sharing and supporting each other's work, which is why if I'm able to, I'll tune into the show, right? I'll just get in the chat and say hi to people, whatever, just to show that support. But at the same time, if I'm done watching your video or I'm done watching one of Eric's videos or whoever, or even my own, when I want to be really weird about it, then I'll go watch something funny, right? I'll just hop on to, a funny video, and then I might look at some car stuff, and then I might go look at some stuff for the house, how this person fixed their sink or whatever. So that's why I was like, we need one spot where people, when you're searching, it makes sense for a person to be able to search for everything in one spot instead of, I'm going to go to this website to watch gun stuff. And I want to go look up, how to install my TV. I got to hop over here. I just would like to see, or maybe somebody should just buy YouTube. Like, what's YouTube worth? Google that thing. What is YouTube worth?
YouTube, it's worth billions and billions of dollars, because that's what Google has invested in it. Billions and billions of dollars building it up. And now they've pretty much they would never. I mean, why would they sell it right now? They control everything. Google basically has the number one and the number two search engine on the planet, which would be Google, and then after that, YouTube. So they can control everything. They can make all the money. Everyone's turning to this. There were things that came out recently saying that even on YouTube, there's more and more content creators showing up on YouTube and actually making a living. You know, people who are making a decent living on YouTube. The problem is that that's not necessarily the folks who believe things that is not in line with where YouTube is at. I do think that if you had another freedom platform, everyone would go over there, because this idea of you can't just naturally discover things and search around and find what you want, it's terrible. I like watching a lot of car videos and other things that I'm into or things that I'm looking to buy. I like to say, oh, let me go look and see what the guys who follow this all the time, what they're doing, right? And it ties back into what we're saying. People who are giving me good information and helping me make decisions and things like that, or even just entertaining me, I'm not mad if they're making money. I think that or making a living so that they can continue doing what they're doing. It's it's just unfortunate that we're here in this position where everyone is sitting back. I mean, the Supreme Court is sitting back on it, politicians are sitting back on it and letting it go. Everyone's just sitting back and just going, yeah, okay. It's all good. They can do that. So, yeah. Let me get to this real quick here before I forget. Brian Quick put up this quote. He says, "You know why there's a Second Amendment?" No, question mark. You know why there's a Second Amendment? In case the government fails to follow the first one, and that's from Rush Limbaugh. Rest in peace, Rush Limbaugh. I didn't listen to all of Rush Limbaugh's shows or anything like that, but I am aware of who he is. I did listen to him sometimes, and I think he's one of those great broadcasters out there. And I guess he unfortunately eventually lost his battle here with cancer. So
Yeah.
my
I mean,
condolences
he
go
was
out
a
to him and
legend,
his
you
family.
know.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not a guy that listens to him or listen to him frequently, but you know who he is. And I've listened to him like he wasn't big in this area, but actually it was when I was driving to Florida. You're on
Yeah, he's
those
big
long
here.
roadways, and then you would just like hear it, like you could just keep
Yeah.
tuning across the radio band, and like every single radio station would have a certain time that they're playing one of his shows, and you would literally listen to it for like 4 hours, like different shows across the timeline. Very informative, very unique guy. He's a very, very quirky kind of guy.
Yeah.
Very,
Whether,
very
whether you
similar.
loved him or hated him, you knew who he was, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, it's a tough day for his family and his friends, of course, and I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. There's a lot of things that I agree with him on, and someone has to stand up and fight those battles. And typically nowadays, those guys are made into bad guys. Rush Limbaugh is amongst the first or the oldest ones that were here with us surviving, that were fighting those fights and being the bad guy, and we're in the next wave of bad guys.
Yeah, and I mean, it's made me think
You know.
about as far as like Parler coming back online. Everybody's like, "Hey, Parler's back up with they replaced the CEO or they fired the old CEO." And then I saw an article about I don't know his last name, but I know who he is. That Milo. It was a very controversial guy on Twitter. He got banned on Twitter, but he also got banned on Parler, which is very interesting because Parler is supposed to be like the pro free speech, forget left or right, but it was supposed to be marketed as like a pro free speech.
Who is this Milo Yiannopoulos you're talking about?
Yeah. He's a very controversial
And when did he
guy.
get banned on Parler?
I think it was today, actually.
Okay.
Somebody put a screenshot out of him getting banned today.
So I know Parler was supposed to be back, but it's not back on the App Store. How do you get to Parler? You have to like go through the website.
I mean, I have it loaded on my phone, so it never went away from me.
Your Android phone?
Yes.
Okay, so if you're
so if I go into Parler and it'll open up, it's back online on the app. It was kind of acting a little funky 2 days, like the last 2 days. Sometimes it would show you your followers and your messages, but today it's been running pretty smooth. I just thought it was interesting, and I'm very curious to see how that's going to play out, because I hate to have the feeling that, they replace the CEO and then they kind of, like, if they were going to start censoring people, then they should have just stayed online the entire time. Like, why even go to battle and go offline and get taken down for, a month and still do exactly what they want you to do? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty damn risky, man, because you're supposed to be the exact opposite of that. And I don't even know who this Milo character is, but let's just say if he was saying everything opposite to the, the Republican or conservative side, so what? Like, that was what you were supposed to be. I didn't even know Parler was if people started labeling it like a conservative echo chamber, and I didn't realize that because I don't know how to use it yet. I'm just like
I don't
pushing
know
buttons. I couldn't figure it out. So I didn't even know like how to use the thing to even give an opinion about it. I was still trying to figure it out. And somebody DM'd me when I shared, like, hey, go follow me on Parler. And the dude then be like, you know what? I knew it, man. You're just scared to say it, but welcome to the conservative party. I'm like, what?
Oh.
What happened? He's like, well, I was like, what? And question mark. He's like, well, you're on Parler. He's like, yeah. And he's like, well, clearly you're a Republican, right? I was like, well, I'm on Instagram. I'm not a liberal. Like, what? Like, so I didn't get it, but that's how I found out. Then everybody was like, oh, yeah, that was just going to be a Republican echo chamber, but they're not going to censor anybody. And so I remember on somebody's timeline, there was a pretty lively debate saying that, so what if they're conservative? If they're going to allow everybody to join and share their opinion, who cares? That's a beautiful thing. So if they're banning people now, that's kind of like, what?
So JDO is saying this, but so Milo Yiannopoulos was a gay conservative, or is a gay conservative. So yeah, and he is outspoken, and none of us like believe all the same things, regardless of where you want to put yourself, belief system wise. So I'm not sure. I know he did things and he got deplatformed on other places. I'm not sure why Parler did it. I don't know if that's some part of the whole agreement of what's going on and how they came back or who's funding it or anything like that. So,
does Trump have a Parler?
Good question.
I don't know.
I know Trump Jr. Trump Jr. was on there, but I can't really get on there. Even from trying to go in. I guess I have to like delete the iPhone app and then probably try to. I gotta log in and go through all of that. Yeah, I'll sort that out at some point. But yeah, if they're getting up to that, I don't know. At some point, we'll find that they decide, yeah, we don't really want gun guys on here either, or we don't want this thing or that thing. So it circles back to the conversation we're having.
Which is a risk, because I think that we need to, and it's a deeper conversation, and I'm only going to be on here for another few minutes, so I can't even dive deep into it. But we have to also get past, and I get gun people were very, very happy whether you consume the content or create the content saying, oh, cool, if this is a conservative-based platform, they're about freedom, great, we can go over here, we can put our stuff there. Here's the risk, though. Power consumes all, right? So if they then become the go-to spot for the content, then who's to say that they won't start putting restrictions in? Who's to say that they won't start doing it? And the reason why we know that they can be a risk is because if nobody has learned anything in the last 4 years, it should have been pounded in your head, just because somebody wears a red tie does not mean they're pro-gun. All right? So you can't necessarily just take for granted that because they say that they align with this political ideology, that they align with the Second Amendment, right? So you got to be very, very careful about that.
Let me get this, a couple of things. Let me get this in here. Florida Gun says Milo was threatening Ben Shapiro and said he was going to post his phone number every day.
That's pretty savage.
Okay, well, all right. I don't know.
But see, that
I don't know if that's
like
impeachable.
Police, though.
Yeah,
see, he hasn't done it yet. You're banning somebody for something that they haven't done.
Yeah, he hasn't doxed
the
him.
Police. I'm arresting you because you said you were going to go to the bar and drink and then drive home. Yeah. So I'm going to arrest you now because you said you're going to do it.
Yeah. You know what I like? I like Minds. I don't know if you guys are aware of what Minds is or if you're on there. but I'm on
Briefly
Minds.
described it last time we spoke.
Yeah, I think that's a better app, and that's on blockchain. I recommend things that are blockchain. Actually, the powers that be were trying to take down Minds. I know that uh, Apple threatened to kick them out of the store, and so did Google, but it never happened. But Minds is still up. I still post my stuff on Minds. You could post links on there, all of that kind of stuff, and they run off the blockchain. So I think even if those guys basically kick them out, as long as you have it, you'll still be able to get on there because they have that going for them. So if we're looking for like true freedom stuff and not just the ones labeled conservative or labeled gun guy or whatever labels we may want to put on, I would look for the ones that are on that blockchain kind of system that's already removed from the big servers that these guys have in control. And this is the reason why I think a long time ago they made the monopoly laws, but no one wants to use it against these guys right now.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
The other thing is, man, clearly, Ballistic Inc. is a business, has to work with different people, has to, run websites and, marketing strategies and the business itself and so forth and so on. Then, Hank, you have apparently every social media that exists, shit I've never heard of before you bring up, right? And I know for myself, running a business, running a website, marketing, traveling, blah, 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 we all pretty much have the same lifestyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many platforms can you essentially really run and get fruit out of it? Eventually, you stretch yourself so thin,
Fear.
you start losing on all of them, right? So it's like, man, there might be 10 of them, and you're like, okay, go here and go here. But then you're like, you'll look up and you're like, oh, man, I haven't posted to that app in a week, right? And so your engagement is not going to be there because you're not active on it. And then when you get active on it and try to build it up, you're going to ignore something else that is going on that, that feeds you. So I don't know, man. It's an interesting place to be into, right? Because can you really right now, how many people you think are truly, if it's just them or maybe one other person supporting them, how difficult would it be to run a Facebook business page, if not multiple, Instagram, if you only have an account there, Parler, Twitter, YouTube, Minds, Full 30. Like how many things can you your website? Like how many things can you effectively run and still be productive?
Not many. I don't know, Matt. What would you say is the answer to that?
I mean, personally, I would probably say, out of all those choices, and it also depends if you're already an established creator or not. Like if you already have a pretty decent sized following, you have to, like, as much as everybody hates it, like YouTube is like where the gold is at. Like that's where you make your money. That has the largest impact, the best ROI. Instagram, YouTube, your own webpage, and work on your own email list. That's getting huge right now because that's one thing that you can't censor is having your own email list. As long as you're not running it through MailChimp, because apparently MailChimp can cancel you.
Yeah, they'll pick you.
Mm-hmm. So I know.
Which mine is on MailChimp.
Yeah, mine too. So we're working on migrating that.
Mm-hmm.
But man, that price is so good. It's just they make it so convenient. But I mean, the mail list works really well. I mean, we get a lot of conversion. We get a lot of like the metrics that you see from that. You get your little report and you see how many people opened it, how many people forwarded it, shared it. Like you see all those metrics and those KPIs that really helps you adjust your business. Versus like Facebook is a pay to play game. So like yes, you can post, but they really want your money. So we don't really interact that much on Facebook. Even on our business page, it's really just there as a formality to claim it so nobody else can claim it and then, pretend like they're you. But I would say email, YouTube, and Instagram.
Yeah. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah, man.
And I guess it might be, it's for you two guys, and it could also really be for the audience. It's kind of a stretch, but I'm going to make it go there anyway. Why is it that it seems, and I think you guys were kind of touching on this earlier with the whole shield word, but while we're talking about all this strategy and stuff, why does it seem that a large portion, definitely not all, I'm not saying all, but a pretty hefty portion of the Second Amendment community that also says they believe in capitalism don't want people that do this to make money?
Yep. That was interesting because I was down recording podcasts with Eric, and we talk about that quite a bit. And it's like the 2A community or the gun community likes to eat itself. So on one hand, they're like, oh, I'm more two-way than you because I don't make any money from it. I do it out of because I want to, because I love it, and that's what I need to do. You do it for money, so that you're fake. Like, I'm like, no, man. I do it, one, well, not me personally, because I'm not a YouTube guy, but just speaking on that from that side, and having experience with a lot of content creators, you know, and I talked to Hank about this earlier, it really only depends on if they're paying you for your opinion. If they say, hey, here's X amount of dollars for this widget, whatever this widget is, we want it to be an amazing review. All right, you've crossed the line. Because yes, I'm making money from it, but as long as you're very upfront with it and say, hey guys, this is a paid review, you're letting that audience know, hey, this is.
I think that's the only time when you're crossing the line. If you don't let people know that, you know, this company did this, right? And everyone has a different structure of how they're doing. Like every single one of my videos that goes up says that it's brought to you by something, and that's the truth. But what people don't realize is that there's a few companies that support my channel. And they support the videos I do with other people. They support me buying guns from other people, you know, accessories, doing all kinds of stuff to promote other people. So I just put that up there, and I think it's really important. And then if a specific company comes along and goes, okay, we want you to do this thing, I still tell people. Or if someone sends me something, I say that they send it. And I think that it's only wrong if you're not doing that, so you're not letting people know your motivations. And that goes for all aspects of what people are doing on YouTube, not just the gun world. But I don't think that folks out there realize what other opportunities are out there. And every day people are saying to me, well, why don't you do something else? Because if you did something else, you do a lot better than doing this particular thing. And I'm running 3 YouTube channels right now. The main Hank Strange channel, this one, and then I have a car channel. There's 3 channels that I'm running, and the car channel is actually monetized. And I can tell you guys, if I took most of my time, I would say 80% of my time goes into this channel and my main channel, and 20% goes into that car channel. If I flip that around, I would actually make a pretty good living and be driving some really nice cars and balling out every day.
The 80-20 rule, man.
Yeah.
You know, that's like the pinnacle of the 80-20 rule.
Yeah, but
80% of your time is spent, you know, not making a lot of money.
Yeah, but you know, this is a passion, and I have to deal with this question all the time from lots of people around me, like, why are you doing this? You know,
it's a loser proposition. Don't do it.
I hear it all the time. So it's, you know what, Kevin, man, it's unfortunate that it's like that, and I wish that more people understood that to have folks like us out here doing this every day, it takes a lot, and we really do need help. And you can't just rely on you gave money to the NRA and then that's it, you know, because where are those guys right now?
Well, you know what I think is a little bit hypocritical for the people that have that mindset, because it's definitely not all people. I got a ton of people that support me and do it lovingly and, you know, with an abundance of love. Here's what gets me though. You take your actor, right? Pick an actor, put him in an action movie with a SIG and PX in his hand. That's advertising SIG and PX, and he's clearly getting paid to be in that damn movie. Nobody says a word. Nobody says anything. They're like, "Oh, that looks cool. I'm gonna go buy one."
And SIG is paying for that SIG
to be in that movie.
A lot of money. A lot of money.
And I can tell people from the project I've been brought on to help out with, you know, the Hollywood production. I'm like, you know, they were like, "Hey, we're thinking about this gun, and we're, you know, going over who has contacted what company." And I'm like, pretty much I can, you know, find a way or reach out to everybody. But I'm like, all right, so, you know, what's you know, the thing that we're looking for to get, so I know if I'm going to make the phone call, I understand how to present the message. And I'm looking at that the whole time, like, so but nobody, if I was to do it, well, if a YouTuber was to do that for a YouTube channel, same conversation, they can get cash drivers, right? If Hollywood does it for a movie, and trust me, Hollywood fee ain't looking nothing like a YouTube fee. Nowhere close to it. But if they do it, then it's all love. But that's normally the same like genre, not all of them, but a lot of them in Hollywood and entertainment and things like that. that speak against two-way rights will still get paid and charge a company to have their product in a movie, make a ton of money off the gun stuff, and we clap and we celebrate it. But then if somebody on YouTube does it, we shoot a bow and arrow at them.
Yeah.
I think in fairness, the same people that would criticize the YouTube content creator would criticize the movie. So example, in John Wick, when they're looking for, he's looking through the little gun safe and he's like, oh, there's guys with body armor and Kevlar face masks. Which gun should I choose? And he picks a PCC 9mm. And you're like, really? You got guys with level 4 plates and Kevlar face masks and you're going to pick a PCC? And like he does that the whole movie. The guys that would complain are the same guys that would complain on YouTube because we would understand it. We're like, oh, no, this is ridiculous. Who would do that?
Yeah,
but no one gets mad at John Wick, though.
About the money, though. They don't get mad about the money.
They don't get mad about that.
This is true. No, I think that it depends on the consumption style of your audience. So you have really, really high production value content creators like Coleon, like really good really good production style value, like Weapon Snatcher. He's a new coming up, great production value, many cuts, many edits, like scripted. You understand that if the gun malfunctions, you don't see it because of the production value. When you see like I use Eric as an example because I have the most experience on like watching him film. What you see is what you get, and that's kind of what that genuine feeling is like if the gun malfunctions, they're not going to edit it out. It's there for you to see. The production value is a little bit different than what you would get from somebody that's editing the living crap out of their videos, but I think that's where that knife in the back comes, is when if they do find out that you did that, that's like a knife in the back, because that's the only reason they're watching your content. Yes, they like you, but they want that realness. And if when you pull the bag from over their head, they're like, oh man, that sucks. And that it's kind of, it makes them angry.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's just my
no. I think you're actually spot on. See that angle, I absolutely agree with. I tell people all the time, do not lie to me. Like, don't lie to me, because normally people pretty much if it's a consumer, like it's one thing to watch a video because hey, I'm just supporting this guy, I like his content, I want to watch the video. And then there's the person that goes out and says, okay, I pretty much really made up my mind, I'm going to buy that thing. I just need this little extra confirmation that I'm making the right decision, right? Pretty much their mind's probably made up. And they come over and they watch it. Now, if you deceive them, if you lie to them, if you do edit out or cut out or don't mention, then I am 100% with you. Just cost me, because I will take it personal. You just cost me $800, right? Because if I would have known that thing that you clearly knew, and I'm trusting you to just kind of confirm my thought process, and you lie to me, then
well, it's easy to figure that out. If you're looking at a YouTube channel and they never have problems with the guns, so they could definitely be a gun that has no problems when there's a camera rolling.
True.
Okay. And there can definitely be, when there's a camera rolling, could be problems with a gun, but the gun is still a good gun. Maybe it's something that you don't see that person's doing. It could be the ammo that they're using, which ammo is not mil-spec or however
it can be finicky.
Yeah, there could be a number of different. They could be even, it's a mechanical thing. So with that particular one, there could be something wrong. But if you're looking at someone doing what we're doing in the YouTube content space as gun guys, and there's never any problems, then that's probably manufactured, right? Because you can tell if I look at people's videos all the time, although I don't spend most of my time looking at gun videos. I try to do other things because my head would explode just doing this all the time. But I can tell that people have a problem, and I see it, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Right?
Yeah, thanks for being honest.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I don't understand why. That's one reason I will honestly say it, man. That's why one thing I like about watching Mac videos, he will slaughter you, right? He will destroy you.
He doesn't do that on purpose. It's just that's what happens.
He doesn't, but here's the caveat to it though. I know a lot of individuals. I've been watching Mac and Hickok and Eric and all those guys before I decided to actually start doing things myself, right? And even to a point, one day it was like, hey, yeah, I've always been, this two-way supporter behind the scenes, on the streets, stomping the grounds. And then there was like, oh, look, I blink and I'm industry or whatever. So now I'm looking at people for a different reason. I'm looking at, how they're presenting a message, why they're presented that way, and things like that, kind of analyzing it differently. But one reason why I like it, and I like when Eric does it, and hell, I like when several people do it, is because you know what? That's real. And the reason why I respect it, if you were somebody that spent any amount of time with guns, I'm talking, let's call it 5,000 hours and some change. If you spent that amount of time with guns, point me to a manufacturer that hasn't had a gun that hasn't had a problem when you had it in your hands.
Yeah.
It's just the realization.
Can I tell you guys a little story that has to do with Mac? It has to do with a Iraq veteran, myself, and a gun company. So, I started my channel here in Florida, obviously, and I'm a Kel-Tec fan. And when I started my channel, I was buying Kel-Tecs and overpaying for Kel-Tecs, right? That was I started this in 2013 during the Firearm Again. So a lot of what people are going through now, that the prices are up and everything. So I was buying Kel-Tec stuff and doing videos, and I was here, and I just went up to Kel-Tec and met those guys and actually became cool with those guys. And, started doing videos with them. I was still buying the things that after I met them and we were doing stuff, I was still buying things from those guys. So a funny thing happened. One, with Mac, I have a big video that I did on the KSG shotgun. Now, I had Mac put out a video. I think Mac eventually, he wound up having like 3 or 4 KSGs. And he had problems with those KSGs. It wasn't funny. So I actually did a video where I had the little mini shot shells. And I ran those through, shells. Through my KSG. It had no issues. It was nicking me just exactly as Mac said, and I showed all that stuff. But Kel-Tec hated Mac but they hated him because the guns he was getting didn't work.
A lot of gun companies hate Mac.
Yeah. So they were hating on him because of that. And I actually, since I knew them, I actually brought them to one of the IV-88 range days. And Mac was there, and I was like, look, you got to talk to this guy because this guy doesn't hate you guys. He's bought 3 of these freaking things.
Yep. And he buys them himself. It's not he's not in the bed with any gun company.
No,
that's kind of his.
He loves bullpups just as much as I do. He's probably the one dude out there that has more bullpups than I do. And he loves these things, and he keeps buying. I was like, you guys got to talk. You can't have this thing go, because they really had a thing. I don't know if anyone's aware of this, because Kel-Tec kind of runs like a cult. So all the Kel-Tec heads seriously hated him, and even the people that work there and everything like that. And that all got worked out. And then the other thing is, I remember being at SHOT Show, and of course, Iraq Veteran has done a ton of Kel-Tec stuff. But Kel-Tec didn't know them. So they were Iraq Veteran. They were the biggest dudes out there. And I remember Eric telling me one time, he's like, you know what? Those people don't even know me.
Yeah.
They don't care. They don't know who we are. They don't care about it. And it's weird because we've even just tried to talk to them directly because it's so difficult to get our hands on guns. And they're like, who are you? So yeah. I did the same thing. I took Eric over to them at SHOT Show, to their booth, and I was like, guys, by the way, this is a Iraq veteran, and he has millions of followers, and he's done stuff on your guns, and you guys don't even know him. So so all of that stuff happened. Then Kel-Tec came out with the RDB, which is the 5.56 bullpup that they have.
Yep.
And I did a video on it, and the problem with that gun, which happened to even Nothing Fancy, is that if you put a suppressor on it, and then you put a steel magazine or GI magazine in there, it unseats it because it's rearward downward ejecting. So the gases go back, sending the shell backwards, and it downward ejects, and it goes over the mag well, right? So that pressure unseats it. If it's a PMag or something polymer, it's kind of like thick enough that it holds in there. So we had that problem in there. I left it in my video, and I did my video with no edits. So if there's a cut in that video, it was only because my battery died. I had to change my battery. No edits. So that happened. And then the other thing was the gun that they made in the modern era didn't have a QD point on it. And I just said, you know, whoever designed, like the engineers, when they were designing this, sitting around a table, no one said, we should put a QD mount in here. This is a modern gun. People might want a QD mount. And I was
Right.
like, those engineers sitting around that table must have been from the 80s. Okay. Then the cult of Keltec went after me. And they got like really, 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 really mad. And to this day, we don't really talk to each other because, you know, we're kind of like, if I see them, I'm like, yo, what's up? If they see me, they're like, what's up? But they got so mad. And a few days before that, it was actually like a 4th of July. Keltec was actually here on the range with me, making a 4th of July video, using my stuff, messing up my equipment. One of the guys left his iPhone and his wallet at a Starbucks locally, and Lola and I went and got it and mailed it to him. So when he got to work on Monday, it was sitting on his desk. And these guys just cursed me out on social media and wouldn't talk to me. And I'm telling you guys all of this, a long time has gone by. This is the thing that happened. It shows you how batshit crazy the gun industry is.
Well, you know, man, I had a problem with the KSG as well, and didn't like it. I had 3 of them, and didn't work. I was like, all right, I got rid of it. But you know what? I still bought a sub 2000. You know, so I don't think that I get why, you know, if you make a thing, you take it personal.
Yeah.
And I'm never. I can totally respect that and understand it, especially now that I manufacture the gun. I totally get that. But mine's just haven't had problems. But I also aren't making thousands upon thousands upon thousands of them either, right? Quality control is a little different with me.
If something is mechanically wrong with your gun, it's you. If the person hasn't modified that gun, then you manufactured something wrong, and it might be a mistake, and you just need to own up to that.
It's fine. How many people make fun of when SIG was having the drop issues, and they were going through a bunch of QC issues? How many people were giving SIG a hard time, but still own SIG and will still buy SIG, right? It's just like, we're just having a conversation because it happens. It is not a death wish to the company.
No. And by policy, I buy bad guns, by the way. Do you know that?
What?
By policy, I buy bad guns. And I'll tell you why. Guns that suck and that no one wants to buy, especially if it's a bullpup, I buy it because now it will become more collectible in the future. Boom.
I think
so. Like the Zip gun, the Zip.22 is one of the worst guns out there, and definitely the worst bullpup ever made.
Arguably, this is true.
Yeah.
The thing about Keltec is they shouldn't get upset because you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
Keltec is known for being a very quirky, innovative company. They do off-the-wall stuff.
Yep.
They do very unique stuff in the firearms industry, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a battle-proven design. So that goes back to the like QD mounts. Obviously, if they had somebody in there that was in the military or like anything like tactical, they've been like, hey, we need to put a QD mount here because if you want these guys to sling this weapon in like a low ready or a high ready position to be able to get rid of it, that's probably something.
If you make a rifle today and there's no QD mounts, when did that come out? That must have been, the RDB came out in what, I want to say 2018 or was it
17 or 18? Yeah. 17 or 18.
Okay, it wasn't 1986.
Right.
Right? I mean, it should have a QD. And that's like a fair thing for me to say, I think. You know, like, hey, I should have this. Yeah.
They should, those are things that you should look at, but you can't get mad and upset about somebody saying, well, your gun is kind of quirky. Like, dude, you guys just made a FN P90 magazine like handgun. Like it takes the P90 mags. Like that's pretty quirky. But I guarantee you, if Tim or Military Arms put it through the gauntlet, it's gonna fail. So you can't be mad about that. It works, but it doesn't work. It's very innovative.
It's all on you.
I don't think it's a death wish, man. If you have a problem,
I still buy Keltec stuff, by the way. I still buy. Yeah. They got mad at me. They told me to send back that RDB. I immediately sent it back. Guess what? I own one. I got one. And I've made videos on it since then, and when I make, even companies that treat me like that, when I make a video, I make that video as fairly as I possibly can. And I even tell people in the video, hey, you know, this might be some kind of prejudice I have when I'm making this. Like I did a video on the Springfield Hellcat By the way, Sean Curtis of Ludus Integritas is joining us. I did a
How
video
you
on
doing,
the
Sean?
Hey Sean, I did a video on the Springfield Hellcat, and there's nothing wrong with the Hellcat. I don't like the company because of the carve outs they tried to do a couple of years ago, and I just don't like all that stuff that they did, and I don't think it's cool. But people kept asking me, come on, man, what's up? How come you don't want to do a video on that, right? It was like a constant thing of people asking me what's up with that video, and I got one. I told people, hey, I might have this thing. We shot it and everything. There was absolutely no issues with that. I didn't say, oh, I'm going to go out of my way and sabotage this or whatever. I laid it all out there so people could know. And I think as long as we do that, then that's what we owe the folks out there, to be honest about who we are, and even the prejudices we may have against something for reasons like, we don't like their politics, or, they gave me a mean look one time.
Well,
Yeah.
quick story, real quick. That day, Kevin, you came down to Eric's and we did the podcast. That was Eric and I were going around to all these pawn shops looking for guns, and we actually walked into this pawn shop that had an OG, like, original Keltec pistol. I think he showed it to you, didn't he? That
Yeah, he
that
did.
day.
Yeah.
Which one was it?
I forget. It was like the original, like, Joe, is it John Keltec design? Like, that was the.
Oh wait, was it a Tech 9?
No, not
No.
a tech. I was like, it was a. I forget the actual name, but
Okay.
it was like sitting in a glass case.
Yeah.
Like, on
So
top
it was
of a bunch
something
of
that
junk.
Kellgren designed, right?
Yeah, but it was literally
George.
like in a glass case on top of a bunch of, like,
Ooh,
pins and stuff. And he walks in, he goes,
I
kind of
need to
looks
know
at me,
what
goes,
this is now.
"Hey Matt, look at that." He's like, "I'm gonna buy that." And he walks in there and, like, he just, like, literally buys it because it's just
Yeah.
this really, really unique,
Mhm.
like, firearm. It's
Yeah.
it's original, so it was really cool. But that just goes to show you, it's not a great gun, but you still want it.
They make
And
the coolest things, man, and I think they're one of the companies. After saying all of that, and by the way, I don't hate them. I buy their stuff when I see that 5.7, that PS90 magazine thing out there. I will freaking buy it. I buy Keltex all the time.
that's gonna be a really cool
They're a
gun,
cool
I'll tell you.
company. Yeah, they deserve us. Now, do you want to get something from them and put your life on it without putting it through its paces? No, but some of their things that they make, you can absolutely do that. And they have staples that they make. And the funny thing is, most of their money comes from those, like, pistols that they did, like the P3AT, the 9 millimeters that they
The
have.
sub 2000s do really well for
Sub
them.
2000,
Oh,
yeah.
I love that
does it?
freaking thing.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
sub 2000 is, oh my God. I just didn't understand the one that I saw that took the Beretta Max. Like, is that a thing?
Because people
But-
ask for it. That's why. That's
Well,
why.
I know, I get it. They definitely did it for a reason. Don't get me wrong. I was like, all right, but yeah, and so I would just like to say, from my standpoint, with any gun company, right? Like, if you make, I don't know, if you put something out there, I think it's actually a benefit to have people that are giving you feedback, for you can correct it. Like, I think and so I don't hate Keltec either. They make something I like, I'll buy it. Like, I bought this sub 2000 off the wall. And I think people should also listen to this. You heard a story about Eric. You heard Hank saying it. I said, hey, we still buy guns. They are not all free. Believe
right.
me, right? Like, still buy them. And when I bought it, it wasn't like, oh my God, I had a bad experience with the KSG. Because guess what? I got buddies that got the KSG and freaking love that.
Yeah, mine never had
Right?
any problems, period. And I've
Yeah,
just bought
and
one. Yeah.
It's not a distance. Look at the way that Paul Metal handled the issue with Mac. What was the thing they were making? The 9mm AK
Yeah, the
or whatever
AKM.
that was. Yeah, and Mac, said, hey, boom, and they fixed it, and then they name it the fix after Mac.
Yeah.
Then they name it.
The Mac fix.
Like, that's the way that you handle it, man. It's not that big of a deal. It's not a death wish on anybody.
Yeah, and so we can get off this subject before Lola gets really mad at me. By the way, Keltec stands behind everything that they manufacture. So if you buy something from them, especially even if you're buying it used, second, third hand or whatever, they'll do this. But officially, you buy that thing used from them for life. They will take care of that thing. They'll fix it. So,
That's good.
and you can actually, if you're in Florida, you can actually go to the factory. They have a store there, and they will take your gun from you and fix it, send it back to you or whatever. and they'll talk to you, give you factory tours and all that kind of stuff. So, um,
That's cool.
yeah, they are a cool company. Sean, Curtis, Ludus, why are you looking behind you? Oh,
Somebody creeping up
the
on me.
kids are sneaking up on you. That's what's going on. Oh.
It's about to get real colorful in here. I don't know.
Hey, how you doing? Hey,
Say-
out there.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing? Hey.
Yeah. Checking up on
Millions of
Daddy.
people.
Yes.
All right, enough of that. She's
Yeah.
out of here.
Welcome to the show. So, Sean, you're here to talk, and we can't show guns, obviously, because,
Love Keltec, by the way. Love my sub 2000.
yeah. Oh, you're a sub 2000. So raise your hand if you have a sub 2000 in the chat right now. Oh, Matt. Oh,
I
Matt.
have one. I live vicariously through Eric's gun collection. This is how I roll. We don't
Say
need.
it's the guy that walked in. Say it's the guy that walked in with that old school Teltec, and he comes in with a Benelli in a box. All right? I just want to point that out. You're gonna leave that part out of there, right? And what's the M4 you bought, right? Was that an M4?
Yeah, it was an M4.
Yeah. See, Matt is one of those dudes, man. Only the finest. I already peeped that about Matt.
It was
Certain brands.
a good price. We went shopping, and it was like Eric was like, "Are you gonna get anything?" I was like, "I'll know it when I see it." And you know what? We were looking around, and there was a JM 930 at the store previous to that, and I had a great price on it. I think it was like during COVID, it was like 640 or something like that. It was like something really, really. It was a super good price for a JM series, and I was like, I'm gonna hold out. I believe. And then we stopped at the next place, and they had M4. It was the LE, so it had the extended tube. It had all the little bells and whistles. It was like good price, fair price. Okay, wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about you in a minute, Matt. I know. By the way, I'm gonna circle back to that, as they say now. Yeah, I'm gonna circle back to it. Okay, so Sean Curtis, Ludus, Integritas is here. I don't know if both of you guys know him or not. Sean is a writer. Obviously, well, Kevin, you know him. We were we did an event together. Matt, I'm not sure if you're aware of Sean.
No,
He's
Good to meet you, Matt.
nice to meet you.
yes. So you're a writer, and you Walther, which sponsors the show, by the way. You guys just see it down there. Walther, they do sponsor the show, so I might be biased. I'm definitely biased, without a doubt. So they came out with a new gun. Have you guys all seen this? Sean actually has one, but he can't show us right now because reasons.
He can show us the airsoft version.
Right. Oh yeah. I don't know if we're gonna try to run that. I don't know if we're gonna try to run that. I could load up some.
You got some images.
Yes, I have a bunch of images and things like that I would load up here for everyone interested. Did any of you guys see anything about this?
Only from you when you posted up that they dropped. I think you said they dropped 2 pistols, didn't there? Or was one pistol with 2 different configurations?
Yeah, basically one platform, 2 versions of it.
Yep.
I will load it up here, Sean. What do you want to? I'll let you take it from there and describe this to us, Sean.
Yeah, sure. So back in September, Walther flew a few writers and content producers down to a place called The Site in Northwest Illinois, and it's a former Blackwater training facility. And we bunked up there, and then spent the next 2 days solid, like 12, 13-hour days, just shooting the heck out of those guns. We were given both of the guns. One is the full-size PDP. It's called the Performance Duty Pistol. And there's a compact and a full-size. And we were issued both of those guns. We were given some belts and various holsters to try them out. One of the really smart things about the way they handled this rollout, Jens and Cody did a great job. They reached out and they said, okay, we've got a really solid platform, and we want people to hit the ground running whenever they get it. So they worked with a bunch of holster companies in advance and had these holsters ready to go. So we had access to them. We went to the range, and then we trained. Now, Hank, you've been to several of these type of events. You know how they are. You show up, you shoot a bunch of ammo, you take your impressions, maybe you make some photos, and you go home.
Mm-hmm.
This was next level. Walther has the Walther Defense Division, and it's a team of people who are absolutely top-notch in their field. And I'm talking about people like Tatiana Whitlock, Bill Blowers, and Scott Jedlinski, and people who are really, really good at what they do, and they're really excellent instructors. And they sent us all to the range with these folks, and we took classes specifically designed for what those instructors were to teach. So with Tatiana, the first 4 hours of the day were what I like to call tactical yoga. She calls it shit happens, right? Mm-hmm. And we think about shooting at the range. We typically, depending upon what your range rules are, some of them are really restricted. Maybe you go to your indoor range and you stand there in your lane and you shoot slowly for accuracy, and then you have to put your gun down and do your reloads, that kind of thing. This was nothing like that. This was what happens if type shooting. So we used our standard grip. We used reverse grip. We used single hand, both hands. We were lying down prone. We were on our stomachs. We were on our backs. We were on our sides. And we did all of these different variations, shooting these guns to see what we were going to be, to make it through this class, to basically experience all of that. So that if we ever ended up in that position, look, it's cold and slippery right now. A lot of folks are falling down that don't usually fall down when they're out there in that terrain, right? Mm-hmm. But that's a reality. And I live in Colorado, so it's always a possibility. And there were a couple of spots where I had never been in that position shooting before, and acquiring your sight picture is a little bit different. And I was happy to say that by the end of it, I was able to have experienced some different positions that I hadn't done before and shot from those positions, so that it wouldn't be brand new to me if I ever got into that again. So really high value. And all the while we're learning about this gun. All of them are equipped, or they were equipped with the Leupold, what is that one called? The red dot. They're, help me out, Hank, do you remember that?
The Leupold red dot? Someone out there, Kevin, you, what's the Leupold red dot called? I'm not sure.
Let's just call it RDS.
It's a really good red dot.
Yeah.
I can't think of the title right off the top of my head.
Leupolds, that's not the square one that's out there.
No, it's rounded. Right, it's got a really nice viewable area.
The Leupold. Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up right now. Okay, go ahead.
I appreciate it. Mm-hmm. You could check my articles. I can't remember, even though I just wrote them.
Okay, you're doing a me right now. Is it? It's not the. No, it can't be the Delta Point. Is it the Delta Point Pro?
Yeah, that was the Delta Point.
Yeah. So all of these guns that we had were equipped with the Delta Point Pro, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're using that to move through our training and establish sight picture and fire. And of course, reloads and everything else that happens with a handgun happen from those positions too. So we were having to adjust. If you're laying on your mag holder, it's a little bit different prospect to draw that magazine out, get your magazine, and get it going. So anything other than the static range, and so I appreciated that.
So it's specifically, it's specifically designed. The thing about it is specifically designed now for a red dot, the new line.
So yes, and I'll talk about that in just a second, because the next class that we went to was with Scott Jedlinski, and he's phenomenal. He is incredibly fast. Usually carries in the waistband appendix draw, and that man can put rounds on target quicker than a lot of folks that I'm used to working with. So he helped us because our class, the folks that were there, and I know you guys are probably familiar with this concept too. Even if you send 20 people to a class from the media, you're going to have all different levels of student there,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everybody is at a different place in their journey. And so your instructor has to adapt to that.
Mm-hmm.
The beautiful thing about it was there were people there who were familiar with red dot sites and had already made that transition. There were people who had experienced them but weren't necessarily very comfortable with them. And there were people who had never shot with them before. And Scott spent the next 4 hours shooting with us and teaching us some of those tricks, how to pick up your red dot sight quicker. And holy crap, I can't say the actual metric, but we had a competition at the end of the class, and I actually won. And I was pretty slow compared to the times that Scott runs at.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a drill. It's a 3-and-2 drill where basically from the holster, you draw and fire 3 rounds to the chest, 2 to the head at 3 yards, right? So very close, but you're still running for time. And I did it in 3 seconds and change. There was like a few tenths of seconds.
It's like supercar speed.
Right. So 5 rounds on target in 2 different zones in just a hair over 3 seconds. And I was really happy with that, considering the fact that I had never run that level 3 holster before. I had a Safariland holster. So I was having to defeat those mechanisms, get out on target, and then get my shots on and not miss. And so I was really pleased because it brought me up, right? And all the while there's this subtle lesson or this idea that, hey man, this gun really runs. And the cool thing about it was that night we all went back and a lot of us were talking about it, and just the impression that we had was the grip was outstanding. The accuracy was really good. When we started, Scott had us 0 at 10 yards. There's some debate about what people want to do. How do you want to 0 your red dot sight?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, 10 yards, I mean, I think that's decent.
A lot of law enforcement, I mean, and feel free to jump in here if anyone else is out there. Because the only reason I'm stopping you, that's a good debate point to have with people, I think, about the 10 yards. But a lot of law enforcement guys who are, I don't know what's the best way for me to say this, like the tactical law enforcement, I guess. Because it's just like in the military, you have folks who are handling guns in the military, but not like actual gun handling professionals. But if you talk to law enforcement gun handling professional dudes, they 0 at 10 yards. I don't know where, like Kevin Dixie or even Matt. I know Kevin, this is one of your jams, right?
Yeah, with the RDS systems and the boom of them, there's a lot of conversation, and I'll pre-reference that with saying there is not there. I don't believe there is the perfect way. I just believe it really comes down to how you're trained, what you adapt to, and what works for you, right? Mm-hmm. But the 10-yard is where I started. So when the RDS system was really started booming, and I finally, chucked over my old man ways and said, all right, let's get this dang on thing on the guns, right? Let's try them out. I got out there, and I'm a real nerd. When I get into something, I really get into it, and I'm like, all right. So I zeroed at 10 yards, and was shooting, and was doing fine. Was doing fine, and I was going around having very interesting conversations with people that had been running it a couple of years longer than me. And they were like, well, how do you like the 10? And so we would do some tests and things like that. We would discuss it. And then I was having a conversation with Ken Scott with Provectus Group. And he's really knee deep into the RDS right now. He was like, well, I like the 25. And I'm like, okay, let's talk about it. And so after the discussions, he made a lot of good points, right? And one point that I added to that was, when it comes to a rifle, right? If you train with rifles a lot, you have to think about the way that the frontal lobe takes in information, how quick it can process it and apply what right? So with the 25 yard, I do better with it because I work in quarter zeros whenever I'm working with a rifle, right?
Okay.
It's either 50, It could be, I mean, there are some, you can, I know there's a 36 out there, but normally it's 50. I even know a couple of people that do a 75, which I think is strange, but it works for them. 100, and then you go up to 200, but it can always be broken down into a quarter, right? So with the 25 yarder, point of aim, point of impact was faster for me because I'm so used to 50-yard zeros on rifles. So it just made sense the way my brain processed it. It worked faster. But the 10-yard worked as well. What I found with the 25-yarder with me is my brain processes the holdover a lot quicker.
So you're more accurate. You're more accurate with that particular setup, like zeroing it at 25. You're saying?
Yeah, I'm more accurate with it. And I was good at 10, right? But I tell people all the time, good is not good enough, right? I was good at 10. And then we went out to 25 and I was great. But then I still know guys that run that 10-yard like a monster, like a complete beast. And then there are guys that run it at 25 yards and run it like a complete beast. So I think that it's it's interesting nuance between the two, but it really comes down to the shooter, how they can process information and who is exposing it to them and how they're explaining it to them.
Right.
That's really going to make sense to that shooter and how they apply it. I'm not going to argue with a competition guy. I'm not going to argue with a world record holder or anything like that about what works for them, but it's about how you compute information, what you're doing with that gun. Like, what is your philosophy of use with that firearm? For law enforcement, it might make a lot of sense because, they're normally arms sent away from somebody when they really run into a conflict, right? Normally it's something that's just popping up. So that I can totally understand that. But the 25-yarder for me, with the holdover, the way my brain processes it just makes a lot more sense. But the 10-yarder, I will say, for close distance, it's almost negligible. It doesn't matter, really, in my opinion. 25 to 10. It really doesn't. And then when you start stepping it back out there, if you're shooting at 15 or 20, I think that the 25 has an advantage, right? But that's just the way that I process it. I find it to be a very, very interesting conversation when you get into the science behind it and the process of the brain and the ocular nerves and all those things, and when you really break it down. But either way, I think it's a good debate to have. 10 or 25, what I'm going to say is make sure you understand why you're doing it. And don't just trust yourself to do it. Go out and challenge what you believe and get with another competent instructor that understands the RDS system, because there are a lot of instructors, a lot of them, and I'm speaking as one, that still don't understand the science behind red dots. So get with somebody that has a passion for them, and then they can really challenge your theory, and you might be right, or you might see that there's a different way you can do it and be more effective.
Yeah. Matt, do you want to jump in before we go back to Sean?
Yeah, I would say that, red dots are the way of the future. I mean, the way that, if you think about it with like rifles, when's the last time you shot a rifle that wasn't like a milsurp without a red dot? It's very, very common, and it's almost easier to shoot it with a red dot than it is without it. When I was going through, when I was in the Army, we had to zero on iron sights to 300. But as we were phasing out, as we were graduating, the next class was actually qualifying with the M2s, the CCOs on their rifles already, which was really awkward and really weird because we had to shoot iron sights out to 300. And these guys, I don't know if that was good or bad, because trying to hit anything at 300 with the red dot is challenging in and of itself. But learning to shoot a red dot on a rifle first and then learning to shoot on a pistol is actually, to me personally, it was easier because you understand your holds and you understand the bullet drop better. With the 5.56 or 2.23, just something minuscule like understanding the trajectory of the bullet really lets you understand the holds on the red dot. Just like a pistol, like zeroing it, say, if you co-witness your red dot at 10, you understand, like, all right, if it's going to 25, 30, or 40, you're going to have to hold high, but you already have that basic understanding of how that bullet is going to drop. And a 9mm drops like a sack of potatoes, man. So it's really surprising when you're trying to hit something that's 50 or 60 out, and you're hitting the dirt every time because
you have to lob it in there.
Yeah, man, it's like throwing a football. You're like, when you start, it's really surprising.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just a big believer in red dots on pistols. I mean, I use one every day on my EDC. I think that every single pistol should come tapped for a red dot, and I understand that there's so many different footprints, but you can't go wrong with going with just like an RMR footprint. 90% of the red dots out there are going to fit that footprint.
Yeah. When I was talking, so I actually had a conversation today, Sean, with Cody from Walther, And so right now they've released basically for the PDP, it's two guns, the four and what is it? The 4 and the 4.5, right?
Yes,
Like
sir.
you said, they both come with the cutouts for red dots. And there's no price difference. I think their MSRP is $649 on them.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think people
my
they're already
understanding
out there.
is
By the
you
way,
get one plate. You signify from Walther which plate you would like. You notify them what red dot you're going to be using, and they will provide you with the plate for that optic.
Yeah.
So how does that work when you buy it at a retail location? Do you then just have to reach out to Walther later?
No, you
and
get a
say, hey, send me
certificate.
this
I
plate?
think you get a thing
Oh,
in
and they
there.
send you a free plate?
No, well, there's a some kind of certificate in there, right, Sean, that says you can redeem this for the plate, something like that.
I think that's how they're working it.
Yeah.
It's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you got guys like, Agency and Zeb that just give you all three in the box. They're like, here you go. Just take it. Do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting because remember when Glock first put out the MOS models and you would get all the plates with it. I think from a manufacturing standpoint, I know the consumer might be mad like, oh, dude, now I got to wait another week to get this thing in. But from a manufacturing standpoint, look how much metal you're wasting if they're not using it, right? So I can kind of get with that.
Yeah, and they cut deeper too. They from what they're telling me, they've cut deep. First of all, they redesigned the whole upper part of that. The whole slide is redesigned, so it's a completely different shape on it. It's more square, like blocky and chunky. So and then
Can we show red dots on here, Hank?
Yes, we can. What is this one?
It's a hollow
This
sun.
is the this is the hollow sun. This is the which model is this? I got like 5 of these damn things.
It's the 507.
What?
Yeah, this
Matt is
with,
Matt is on it.
yeah.
Hold on, let's go.
This
Give
is
us a
not the
close-up look, Kevin. Hold on. Yeah, go ahead.
This is not the X2 series though. This is one of the where am I at? There we
Right
go.
there,
This is
yeah.
one of the older ones.
Okay, so that doesn't have the battery tray on the side, right? That you
Nah, this one
okay.
I probably have. Man, this is like 3 or 4 years old.
That's an old school one.
It's sitting here on my workbench.
Okay.
It's still a good RDS.
Yeah.
The only difference is you have to take it off to change the battery. But I only know that, Hank, because I run the same optic, but I run the V2, so it has the battery tray on the side.
The side
so,
tray, yeah.
Yeah, you don't get. I love that. I mean, it's
You don't have to take it off.
Hours, but,
Yeah.
I mean,
And then I have this guy. Now I do have the new one. All right, this is the 507K. This is the X2 series.
Kevin's
all right,
gonna flex all his red dots on us now. I knew this was coming. I knew this was coming.
I didn't know we were going to be talking about RDS systems. Now, here's the interesting. Here's the interesting thing about these, though. When you get let's keep this conversation around Walther. So if you go out and get your new Walther, understand something. If you go out, you grab that gun, fine, you redeem your plate, you get your plate, and you put a red dot on it. I hope you are ready to buy many of these things because these things are not only essential. I agree 100% with that. I don't even know. I disagree a little bit. I don't think they are the way of the future. I think they are the way of the now, right? Like red dots are here to stay. They made their impact, and you can. It's one thing I love about competition too. We all understand that the big dog, Trigicon, right? They're the big dog. Then Leopold jumped into the game. You have the shields out there, but HoloSun stepped in and made these things really, really awesome. They're like essentially the Keltec of red dots, right? They are making anything and everything. So they are really, really interesting. But you will buy.
HoloSun's not messing around with
They're not,
this
dude.
stuff. No,
they are not.
And they've changed a lot since I started doing this, right? I mean, I don't know. You guys have probably been doing this longer than me, but the HoloSun has changed a lot over the last few years. They're kicking ass.
Quality has stepped up exponentially. I mean, and they catch a lot of flack. A lot of people are like, oh, it's a Chinese company. Like, no, it's a Chinese American guy that started the company in California. It's an American company. Products made overseas, but every product is made overseas except for like the ARC, which I believe, or the Huey. One of those is like a U.S. made RDS.
Are you repping for the Chinese Americans right now, Matt?
No, I mean my wife is
Here's that little
Chinese.
guy
I'm half
over there.
Korean, but
Oh,
yes.
okay. So
Here's that little
the
guy.
Korean game
This
has
is
to
the one-
step up. Okay.
That's right.
This is the one I took
Daewoo
out.
K2,
Yeah.
man.
I want a new Daewoo, damn it.
That's
This
a
is the
nice.
one I did.
I'm surprised they were able to come out with that because this came out after the Trigicon settlement, like the whole Trigicon
this
and
is the
HoloSun.
What is this one?
So this is the
Hold on.
one I did. This is the 507K.
Oh, okay.
X2 series.
And that was made for the single stacks, right? That was made for like the smaller pistols.
Yeah, this is made for the smaller guns, right?
Okay.
And that's what I was going to say too. When you're buying your dot, consider what gun you have,
Hmm.
right? So if I'm running a smaller Walther, I might go ahead and put this guy on it, right? And if
Yeah.
I'm running a larger one, I might go ahead and get a bigger dot like the one I showed before.
Yeah.
Which is also going to change your philosophy behind your zero, right? Because if you're running a nice little small EDC pistol, 10 yarder is like a no-brainer, right? It's kind of like, dude, just go with the 10. It makes sense,
Yeah.
right? You got a 4
Yeah.
inches or less on the barrel, just go with 10. Why not? Especially when you have a smaller viewing area. And then for the larger guns, like the one that I run my 509 on, which is a much bigger dot, it's an enclosed reflex sight. That one I run on the VP9L slide, right? I think it's, I don't know, 5 inches and some change. So that one, obviously the 509 fits great. So, and then I do a 25-yard zero on it. But this little guy is probably going to go on a gun and get a 10.
Yeah. By the way, Edward Andrews is sending me a bunch of pictures. So, okay, so hold on. Sean, first of all, let me throw this up for Edward Andrews before he really... Okay, so here we go. Edward Andrews showing off his RDB. He's like, my RDB is running fine. And then he's also showing off his guns and his red dot. So there we go. Okay, got that in. All right, Sean, sorry about that. Okay, so to get back to the PDP, what were the other new... by the way, if folks out there have like the what is it? The PPQ, right? This is stepping in for the PPQ line, right? So the PPQ line is
Yeah.
kind of getting turned
End of
down.
life.
Yeah,
You know,
some
there's,
models are still staying, but some are being turned off a little bit, right?
There are some cross references there, and I was on the Walther website today looking at some of that information,
Mm-hmm.
and there are some really cool cross connects with what parts are swappable between which models,
Mm-hmm.
and there's quite a bit. Obviously, like you were saying with the PDP, it's the slide itself is quite a bit different. If you look at it, you could spot it immediately and say, oh yeah, that's a Walther. But there are quite a few models that are sharing some parts with the PDP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I
go
ask
ahead.
Sean a question?
Sure.
So Sean, during your training experience with Walther, which by the way I love their approach to that. That's pretty solid, right?
Mm-hmm.
During your training experience, how many rounds? Like, did you guys have the same guns all weekend? Like, you had a gun and that was the gun you ran out the entire weekend?
No, there was a case of like 20 guns, and we all just kind of drew randomly. If we wanted to shoot the full size for this class, we would take one, and if we wanted to shoot the compact, we would take one. So we weren't really given one gun to keep. We had a box of them to draw from.
Did they clean them every night? Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Kev.
So how many rounds would you say was fired per student? I know it was 20 of you guys, right? Well, how many? 20 of you?
I want to say it was like 15 of us, but the instructors fell in with us also. So you would have like Bill Blowers and Tatiana Whitlock in my class with Scott Jedlinski, right, who was teaching. So, so roughly about 20 folks. And no, I never saw a gun cleaned in the 2 days that I was there.
How many rounds did you guys fire?
Your question, I think I'm conservatively estimating about 3,000 rounds between the two guns over the 2 nights. We were shooting hard.
So 15 per model. I'm just averaging this thing out. So 1,500. Somebody do the math. 1,500 times 20. Let's just go with 20. What's that number?
Hold on. Let me pull out my calculator.
1,500.
All we got to do is add
20.
Yeah, all we got to do is add zeros.
30,000.
There you go.
30,000. Okay, so 30,000 rounds.
The Korean dude is on it.
Or failures did you see?
It's a calculator app.
Say that again.
I'm not a math Asian.
Between those 30, so each gun ate roughly, give or take, 30,000 rounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many? Did you see any hiccups? Anything that alarmed you? Anything that you were curious about as far as on the it's not performing the way you would expect it to perform side?
No, and I was really surprised at that too. I mean, the way that I figured it is, it was kind of laid bare. You know, there's one thing to think about going to a shoot like that and having a bunch of people with, let's say that buy their ink by the barrel. Okay, these are folks who have some influence in the industry, ranging from small to huge. And they put all of us out there to just shoot practically nonstop for a couple of days. And then they didn't just have us go out and plink, like set up a bunch of targets out there and say, okay, well, I can hit this target or I can hit that target. No, we were doing training. We were reloading. We were down in the mud. We ran night vision goggles one night. We did speed drills where we would absolutely push to run the limits of our abilities and then pull it back a little bit when we got too fast and we're starting to screw things up. So I really respected the fact that they were willing to just say, okay, this is what we built. This is how we did it. And we're confident enough in our product that we're going to bring you guys out here and just have you shoot the crap out of these guns. And we're confident that you're going to go back and you're going to say good things about them.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay. I think that's cool. That's a very interesting way to introduce a product, and I think it's a good thing. Only problem that I've always had with like SHOT Show, and I know we're limited there, is how do you really make a solid impression after 10 rounds? Like how do you really walk away and say it, give an educated opinion? So I do like that. Okay. I'm curious.
And then the beautiful thing was they shipped them to us afterwards.
Okay.
So, we got the guns probably by October. And unfortunately, with ammo setbacks, I've only had another 500 rounds additionally through the guns, but still no issues whatsoever.
Okay. Let's see. Brian Quick has this question. He says, does the Walther PDP feel just the same as the Q4 steel frame, just with a polymer frame?
I don't know. I haven't shot the Q4. I feel bad about that. This was my first experience with Walther.
Okay.
And I got to tell you, I was really impressed. I have been shooting Glocks most of my law enforcement career, and this thing was amazing compared to the traditional grip that I'm used to. The ability to have the curves of the grip. I have, really big hands. So one of the problems that I run into is if I don't get the right beaver tail, I do experience slide bite. And that was never an issue with this gun. There are kind of very, very faint finger grooves in there. And combined with the texture, man, it really just hooks up in your hand and feels outstanding.
Yeah, it looks like it's a completely new grip texture. One of the things that Cody was telling me, and this goes back to red dots. So I'm gonna start that all over again.
Yeah,
but
we need to hit dots.
Yeah, but Cody was telling me that the frame, especially the grip, is ergonomically designed so that when you grip it, I think with your pinky, and this, I have this problem all the time too when I pick up a red dot, right? So I'm not fully over into the red dot camp yet, and I also have stigmatism, which doesn't help, but I'm getting a prescription.
I have one as well.
Yeah, I'm getting a prescription for that, or I think I have it now in my glasses. But anyway, so when you present the gun, you're looking for that red dot, right?
Right.
And Cody was saying that the grip is designed that the way you grip it helps you find that red dot faster. If you can explain that, and then maybe tell us if that actually works, or.
And I'm happy to point that out because there's a couple of really good and interesting ideas that Walther implemented here. One of them is feedback from amazing shooters. Okay, so Scott Jedlinski is, in my humble opinion, probably one of, if not the top red dot trainer in the U.S. right now. That doesn't mean anything for me to say that, right? But the FBI gave him the contract to train their guys into the transition of red dot. So I think that says something. One of the things that he suggested to Walther in going forward with the PDP is this little bit of a curve. Now, if we think about gun anatomy right now, and if you think about a grip, the forward side, right underneath where the magazine is comes out on the forward part of the grip, there's a little bit of an outward curve. And the biggest problem that most folks have when they transition from irons to red dots is that upon their draw stroke, when they push forward, they end up being a little bit too high. And so they're looking through that window and they're trying to find their red dot. But in reality, what they need to do is pull down on the bottom of that grip and lever forward. All of a sudden, your red dot and your front side, if you've got co-witness sights, will appear.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, and I don't remember the statistics.
So there's just a little tiny curve. I'm showing a picture of the PDP right now. Just a little bit of tiny curve at the bottom of that
right.
magwell. That
right.
creates that particular thing.
Yes. And so if you think about when you establish your normal grip and you push out and you present and you've got your pinkies wrapped around that grip and you're not finding that sight, all you've got to do is give just a little bit of pinky pressure with both fingers. And usually the muzzle dropping down, boom, there's your red dot. And Scott was incremental in implementing that.
And that worked. Did you find that worked for you, or were you already, just because of your training, immediately finding your sight picture anyway?
You know what? It's not 100% with me, and even because I had switched holsters while I was at this event, my draw stroke was different. So I was having to defeat retention devices and still maintain my draw and come out. And so that sage advice of putting that pinky pressure and pulling down helped me get back to it. I've gone through a transition class with the National Law Enforcement Firearms Instructors Association.
Okay, I thought you were talking about a different transition. That's okay.
That helped, right. But yeah, but even then,
no one got that joke at all.
No one got it. I'll pick it up with you.
Kevin Dixie is like, what is happening?
It made a difference though. So yeah, that part of it is huge. And a lot of gun companies, I think they attach people to their names, and they say, this person represents our creed or our brand or whatever. But Walther absolutely listened to the folks in their Walther Defense Division, and these guys are top-notch shooters and instructors, and they implemented some of those things, some of that feedback that's so critical.
Yeah.
So with that said, I can appreciate Walther doing that, but do you think that creates a fundamental issue with not actually doing a proper presentation to achieve the red dot versus using a mechanical tool on the gun to acquire that red dot?
So you lean on it too much, you're saying.
As you're saying that, I'm like, okay, that's innovative, but in my mind all I could think of is, well, if you're presenting correctly, then and you're co-witness, then you're already looking at your sights and you're gonna see the red dot regardless.
Yeah.
I can understand if it's like a new gun owner or a new shooter and they're kind of fishing around and they're like, oh, where is it at? But if you have the reps and you just have a really good presentation, then it's almost like that it doesn't apply. So are they catering to the new shooter, or are they catering, because it sounds like they're catering to like the mid-level to high performance shooter or tactical shooter?
Well, I'd be happy to answer that. I think the simple answer is no. I don't think they're necessarily catering. I think they're building a tool in. And as you are well aware, we all come into our shooting from a different point in our journey. And if you have people who don't know red dot from a hole in the ground, they're going to really be able to rely on that. But as you build your strokes, as you build your draw strokes and your repetition, you're going to rely on it less, and it's going to come back to muscle memory, right, from that draw stroke. But eventually, you'll get to that place where maybe 80% of the time you come out and you're on. You are dead on. But maybe this one draw stroke, you rushed it a little bit, and you're there, but you can't, a little pinky pressure, boom, it's right on.
Yeah.
So I don't see it as a hindrance, and I don't see it as building any kind of inadequacies, I think it's a tool that can be utilized and grown from. People can move forward in their progress with the red dot.
Yeah. And I'm not sure you would
Fair
even
enough.
know what you're doing because the way it's designed is that so if pinky pressure is a tip for people to use to get that, and I don't know whether or not Kevin, I don't know whether or not you do that, but if it's a tip and it's designed into the gun, you probably wouldn't even realize that you're doing it anyway, right? You're getting a proper grip on the gun and then it's tilting it that little bit forward, I guess.
Yeah, I think that when you look at, let's just take if you're sticking with like a Glock grip, right? A standard
Mhm.
Glock grip, you haven't done anything to. If I'm working with somebody that's having a problem acquiring any sight, red dot,
Mhm.
front sight or whatever, you're normally going to back them up and you're going to go back to grip fundamentals anyway, right? Because that's why they're having the problem. You could be in draw stroke, but normally it's about gripping a gun. You should always, anyway, when you're presenting that gun out, you should already be applying pressure with your pinky, right? That's why we like to fit guns to people's hands. Make sure you don't have too much slack going on. It's just floating around there because this thing is instrumental in getting a good grip. Do you have to have it to be an effective defensive shooter if you're 3 yards away? Maybe not, right? But when you're talking about really being proficient, this little guy really comes in hand. No matter what's going on, you should always have pressure with everything, including that pinky, to level that slide out. So
Right.
I like the idea of having the extra groove there, the extra curve there, to quickly remind people like, hey, you need pressure here, right? Because if you were gripping a gun right, kind of what Scott was saying, if you're gripping it right anyway, through repetition, that's going to happen regardless because you should already have pressure there. I think having it there to remind people that, hey, if you apply pressure with your pinky here, it'll level out. That's another way of telling them, hey, you should be gripping the gun like this anyway, right? Because that's why it's there as a reminder. And if you're out and you're in, let's just say you're in a gunfight, right? You don't have time to say, oh, I messed up that stroke, let me reholster, right? So if you're like, okay,
Right.
I've drawn with this gun, 400, 500 times, I could take a split second and just apply some pressure and I'm right back in the fight. I think it's beneficial, but it's also a reminder that you should be gripping the gun in that fashion regardless. And I just think if you're thinking about, being in an active engagement, not having to fish and just apply a little bit of pressure, it's a lot faster to get you right on target. So I like the concept.
Yeah. And we really need to get our hands on it. We're kind of running into the 9 o'clock hour here, and I'm sure you guys have to, you guys have places to go. So what I would suggest is if people want to know more about this, there's a video that I did talking to Cody that should be going up soon. Sean has an article. Sean, where's your article up on? Where can people find that?
So I have 2 articles out. I have more of a law enforcement centric review up on Police One, but I also have an article on guns.com that is more dedicated to a strict review of the gun itself.
Okay, all right, cool. By the way, I see Firearm Fanatic in the chat, and he's getting at me. He's like, "Is Hank in an RV?" And what is it? Still got the plastic wrap on the TV.
I told you, man.
Matt was like, "What's up with you?" Yeah, it's gonna stay there. It's gonna stay there until I use this TV. This is not coming off. Not coming off.
Channeling your inner Asian. It's gonna
Yes,
stay on
exactly.
even when you use it.
You know it.
Creeping through neighborhoods, jumping on unprotected Wi-Fi.
You know it. Rain gave us a couple of bucks here. Thank you, Rain. Appreciate that. Yeah. So listen, I'm gonna wrap it up, but for sure, go check out that article or check out the video that's going up or check out Walther Arms. It's a good place to find that. When I get my hands on this, I'll do some stuff with it and I'll share that with you guys. Let me go around here and get everyone to tell you exactly how you can support them. Matt from Ballistic Inc. is here, and once again, Matt comes on. We don't talk nothing about t-shirts.
That's right.
We don't. This was a conversation.
We could talk t-shirts if you want to. It's
No,
t-shirts.
I appreciate what you guys do at Ballistic Inc. for sure. But whenever you come on, we always find something else to talk about. But if the folks out there want to get in touch with you, what should they do, or where should they follow you?
I mean, you can always send us an email. You can send my email is matt@ballisticink.com. If you guys, we get T-shirt ideas. People are like, hey, you should do this. Or if we have artists that send us artwork that say, hey, this would be a cool design. If it works, we'll definitely hook you up and we'll make it work. You can check out our podcast, Life, Liberty, and Pursuit. That's weekly, every Friday that drops. You can also, that's with Eric from Iraq Veteran 8888. And yeah, that's it.
There you go. Okay, let's go to Kevin Dixie. Diximus Maximus.
All right. No other choice.com is the website. That's the absolute best way to communicate. Please sign up for the email list while you're there. We talked about tech and censorship earlier. Email list is going to be kind of the way we can stay in touch. We're all, Zuckerberg, whatever day at whatever time.
Yeah.
So, please go ahead and sign up there. Obviously, the Real NOC on all your social media platforms, the Real NOC backup is KD of NOC if you're looking for any backup, and that's across the gauntlet on all the platforms, including YouTube. I would also say that if you've been enjoying or you're looking into enjoying the conversations we have on Stogies and Straps, which is our IG series, that actually does have a YouTube channel now. Nothing's up there yet, but you can be one of the first one to subscribe. So go ahead, Stogies and Straps on YouTube. Get ready for the podcast coming there. And if you want to send a personal email outside of the info at No Other Choice, you want to send me a personal email, it's kd@nootherchoice.com.
Is Instagram still giving you a hard time, or what's going on with that?
Yeah. Instagram has so they spanked me and put me in a corner. And
nobody puts Kevin Dixie in the corner.
It was crazy. So they didn't let me go live because I had some opinions about stuff, and they immediately blocked me from going live. And now everybody else can talk for unlimited amount of time on their lives. I'm still like the bad kid in the corner. They give me an hour and they're like, you better love it and be thankful for it. And then I've been hard hit by the shadow man. So they really start hitting me hard. But it is what it is. We just dance. I'm not going to cry about it. Then we're going to say it's going to change their minds. So that's why I made sure that the website was built because it is going to be the hub of all information. I will also add too. Going over to nootherchoice.com, there is stuff there. There's swag there. There are, magazines, accessories, lights, things that you can actually buy and equip yourself, medical gear, all kind of things on the website. So if we were talking earlier about supporting businesses, that's a great way you can do it. So head over to the website, shop to your heart's content, and get some stuff headed to your door to help you, survive the fight or look fashionable.
Yeah, and you've got a class or an event coming up, right? When is that?
Yeah, so all the training classes are listed there in general. If you want to come train with me, I would greatly appreciate it. But the event Hank's talking about, Scott, Matt, I would love to see you guys there as well. It's called Train to Learn. So Train to Learn is essentially a 3-day professional development for the industry. We're bringing in, I am not the smartest guy in the room, which is why I'm blessed to know a whole lot of smart people. So we bring in different people of different skill sets. So podcasting, marketing. We're bringing in marketing executives with different organizations to come in, talk to you about sponsorships, how you're rated, what they're looking for, language, communication. We're going over analytics. We're actually bringing in a web developer this year that's going to talk about SOE, how to drive that, how to link that to your social media platforms, get more of a return, different marketing strategies. We're also going to be coaching people about how to build even a business plan.
Okay, yeah, you're roboting a little bit right there.
The shadow band catching up with it.
Yeah, it is catching up with me. Am I back now?
Yeah, you're back.
All right. We'll even have a couple of writers there, just people sharing information on day one. And it's in a classroom setting where you really can take notes, engage, ask these questions, right? And then day two, we're going to have several firearms instructors out. You're going to do basically speed dating with them. And they're going to give you, tips and tricks about how to be better with your gun, a little sample of their classes. So we have Ursula 308, law enforcement out of Arizona, is going to be there. We have Rob Pincus, obviously former law enforcement, still PDN and ICE network is going to be there training. Dustin Pluth, competition shooter. Mike Willen will actually be there this year. We have Ken Scott that's actually on day 3 running an instructor development course to teach you how to build a curriculum, how to communicate with students, how people learn and things of that nature. And we also, I feel like I'm forgetting an instructor. Oh, we have Jason Johnson, which is known as Pro Knife Thrower on Instagram. He's going to be there teaching edge weapons. If you want to see a cool video, go to Pro Knife Thrower's Instagram page, and I believe it's on YouTube as well. This guy is so good with edged weapons and throwing knives and fighting with knives. He was actually able to stand, I want to say about 7 yards from a target with Jerry Mikulik. And before Jerry, with a gun at low ready, could raise up and fire a gun, he already had a knife on the target from concealment, right? Like the guy is an absolute beast. So he'll be there teaching edged weapons. And then we have the no other choice instructor, Jesse Lane, is going to be there teaching you empty hand techniques through the means of Taekwondo. So you'll be able to learn all those different skill sets in one day. We'll end the day with LBD cigar cases is coming out and going to educate people. At the end of the day, once we feed you and you're comfortable, if you smoke, you smoke. If you don't, you don't. If you drink, you drink. If you don't, you don't. But they'll be there educating people about how to pair a good cigar with a bourbon. That's how we're going to end. We're going to kind of relax with the night, bonfire, education about pairing your cigars with your bourbon. We'll have free cigars for everybody. We'll have a free sample of bourbon for everybody. And then on the third day, it's going to be complete collaboration. So all these different people around the country, we're going to equip you with all the gear you need, all the accessories you need, including our sponsors that are going to be there with all their gear to look for you to go out, create content. You don't have to worry about flying to where these people are. You can actually work with them on site. And we're also going to have 3 podcasts going live from the event. Hank was invited. We'll see if he shows the freak up.
Yeah,
he was invited
I don't
also,
like to commit until the last minute.
Hank shows up, then it'll possibly be a 4th one. But we'll have all that going on and end the event with a ton of unity, a ton of collaboration. The last event that we hosted, most people left at minimum with about 7 months of content. There are some people that are still putting out content from 2 years ago from that event. So. Yeah, Train to Learn is outside of St. Louis, Missouri. It is May 28th through the 31st of this year. There are definitely some tickets left, and I would love to see everybody there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
If you're in Missouri and you have a spot where I could park my RV for free, let me know. Hit me up.
We do. We have one that can hold up to 10 RVs.
Oh, and then I'll probably be there then, most likely. Perhaps.
Just real quick,
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention, and you reminded me when you were telling me about your website. I know you offer some really cool stuff on there. You had some like pistol braces and magazines and stuff. We are going, and that's what made me remember. We just signed a deal with a body armor company, a very well-known, reputable body armor company. So we will be offering that in stock. We're gonna warehouse it at our warehouse, so it's gonna ship immediately. I can't tell you the name of the company yet because the ink hasn't dried, but it is going to be level 3+ plates, level 4 plates. Really, really cool stuff. That's affordable and lightweight. So.
Oh, that's cool. You can get watches on Ballistic Ink. You could get shades on there.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I got a nice pair of Oakleys from Ballistic Ink.
Oh,
nice.
man.
Yes, you can.
Yes,
you can.
We will be running a sale here pretty shortly on Oakleys. We're about to get
I broke up my Oakley, so I don't know. I might have to get some.
Dude, I'll hook you up, man. No worries.
Okay.
So
I broke up like 3 Oakleys. No, I'm just kidding.
Go. Let me know which pair you want, man. Go on the website, take a look. We'll get you taken care of.
No. Yeah.
Everything's back ordered for the whole COVID thing, but I just got an alert that I'm about to receive a pretty large shipment of back ordered Oakleys. So as soon as those come in, we'll get them up on the website, and then we'll run like a real big 30% off sale or something.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
To treat everybody nice.
Yeah, we should all get together and promote that. I'll definitely throw some promos up there. Let's get over to Sean. Sean, tell the folks again where they can find your articles, how they can support you. What are the best ways to communicate with you?
It's tough to follow those 2 acts. I mean, Kevin went on for about 5 minutes. I don't know that I can top
That's why we call him Diximus Maximus, man. It's like the frickin' it's like the Starship Destroyer in Star Wars, just
right.
like a baby's arm.
Yeah, it's like a baby's
I have a very simple website, ludusintegritas.com. It's got references to all my works. You can catch me there on Instagram, Twitter, whatever. And I write for police1.com, pewpewtactical.com, guns.com, American Survival Guide, a Glock Annual, and anywhere else. You never know.
Yeah, that's impressive. That's impressive right there. Nice. I'm definitely impressed by that. And thanks so much to both of you guys for, all 3 of you guys for joining us here tonight. It's been a fun show. I'm not going to do a show tomorrow or Friday because tomorrow I am going to set up with Walter at that military vehicle event that we've been talking about in Green Cove Springs, Florida. If you look it up, I think it's called the first chapter. If you search Green Cove Springs first chapter military vehicle event, you'll find it. Basically, it's going to be a tank battle reenactment going on over there. So that's going to be fun, like World War II tank battles and people on the field and all that kind of stuff. And if you're in Florida, if you're in that area, you want to come out, you can come out and hang out with me and Walter. I will be there. And if you're really nice, I might let you check out the RV. You know,
Oh,
it depends. It depends. You know, so anyway, big thanks to you guys for hanging out. Big thanks for Walther for being here. Everyone stay right there. I'm going to go to the end and I'm going to come back and one of us is going to have to do the word of the day. Let me see. I'm going to choose that person right now. It's going to be Matt. So we're going to go to this and we'll be right back. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Make sure you smash those thumbs ups, ring the bell, so that you can be notified whenever we go live. Leave your comments here. We're going to rip out the audio of this and put it up on iTunes and all the other places where you get your audio podcast from. You can find my shirts as well as lots of other good folks' shirts on Ballistic Ink, so make sure you guys check that out. Matt, hit us with the final words here.
So you have to describe to me what it is you want me to do. Do you want a word, or do you want like some closing thoughts?
Okay,
or...
there you go. That's the final words right there. We're out. I'm just kidding.
Right.
No, just what's on your mind. Give us some wisdom. Give us some wisdom to walk away from this with.
I am not the right person to do this. I'm going to defer my closing thoughts to KD.
Okay, we're gonna be here for another 2 days. Let's do this.
No, I would just say in the fight that we're all in for our freedom and the preservation and expansion of rights in our country, make sure you're doing that methodically with a lot of patience, and remember that it takes a lot of resolve to get the things that you want. So although that we're all offended and we have the right to be, although we're very passionate about what we do want our freedoms abound. We have to make sure that we're approaching this thing with some science, some intelligence, and by all means, be patient, be well researched, and just believe that you are part of the good fight, whether you're talking to your next door neighbor or you're talking to millions of people via social media. You are just as important as everybody else in this fight. So do your best to make yourself the tool to go out and help us all build this machine called freedom.
Amen, brother.
You see,
Amen.
boy, that's why I did it.
That's what. Yeah, good call. Good call. We are out of here. Thanks, Kevin. You the man. We out. Peace.
All right, peace out.